and welcome to These Changing Times Radio. You're with Santos Bonacci, and it's a overcast day in Melbourne this morning. We've had a very, very overcast summer, probably only about 6 or 7 real summer days so far. So, interesting. But January the 20th, Friday, for most of you guys listening, it's probably still the 19th. And I've got a very, very special guest for you today. I have with me Kate of Gaia from Ontario, Canada. And already I've had one interview with Kate, haven't we, Kate? And that went off really, really well. We've had a lot of good reception from and a lot of comments about that show, and they've been positive. So, welcome, Kate.
Thank you. And yeah, we've been having a bit of a blast lately. I think I can't remember having this much fun. Honestly, it's been interesting. All of a sudden, the listeners are going, "Oh my God, she's got such a deep voice." Yeah, well, the voice is low. Have you explained who I am to people, or they got a rough idea?
I haven't. I'm going to let you do it.
Oh, okay. I am a true Gemini. As true as they get, with both doses of the male-female. I'm transgendered. Got a dose of both in my DNA, so kind of been walking the shadows for a lifetime. So the voice is lower than boobs would indicate. So I just consider this my sassy bedroom voice. Okay, fair enough. Oh yeah. Okay.
Wonderful. And why are we so happy now, Kate? I wonder why we would be so happy. Would it have anything to do with knowing who we are and
Right.
And perhaps choosing to get out of the system, losing that holy, sacred name that you've been given at birth? You know, that name that they put on that birth certificate, and it's yours, and it's follows, and they send you these nice little letters addressed to that name, and they say, "Oh, your account is in debit. You need to pay us $150 because you were speeding. You went 3 miles over the limit, you naughty boy. So you owe us $150." That name is what we're talking about, and we're losing that name and winning the game. How is that possible?
Well, it's not only possible, we've already done it. I mean, I could come out and, be shy about it, but no, we have the key. We found the key they never wanted us to find. At least this is, a culmination of many years of my own research, life, actually, my whole life factored into this. And it's been really intense for the last couple of years. And I should explain to people very, very quickly who the entity that is speaking is in my duality. You may recall a certain video that came out September 1st, 2010 on YouTube, and it kind of went viral a little bit. Okay, a lot. We figured in the first week.
Like millions of hits. That's viral.
We had one guy that's a stat analyzer. It's what he does for a living, and he's part of the Sovereign, collective. And he had got back to me, calculated after the first week and a half, 2 weeks of the video going on to YouTube, and he was following the stats, and he had noticed the 3 punch downs of the numbers because he knew it was going to happen. And I didn't ask him to do this. He knew when he saw the video, he knew it was going to go viral. And he figures between 60 and 120 million hits in the first 2 weeks, and they were showing maybe 35,000 or something like that. I don't know. Might have even been lower. It might have been 11,000 or something. But anyway, the video that I'm speaking of is titled "The Judge Bows to Sovereign." And all of a sudden, anyone that's seen it is going to go, "Oh my God, that was a girl?" Yeah, it was actually. Just kind of long story, but we won't get into it. Not only did they not get the name right, they didn't even get the bloody gender right. So it was a rather rude wake-up call for the system. And I got to tell you, they've been coming at me. Well, not anymore. I mean, it's been a very long time. Actually, I think April last year since I heard head or tail of any of these guys. They just stay away because they have to. I'm not in their system. I'm not one of their slaves. They have to leave me alone. I'm pure. By the way, I should mention, Catherine, the name means purity, by the way, and my chosen name, my own chosen name for my French lineage. I was born in Belfast, by the way. I'm not Canadian. I'm an Earthling. That's to make it short, but and nothing against Canadians. I love Canadians. They're all my friends are Canadians mostly. Anyway, excuse me. I derail myself all the time. I'm such a girl. Okay, where were we? I just got off. I got to explain to people. I just got off the air. I do a show of my own on TNS Radio every Thursday from 3 to 5 my time, which is 8 to 10 UK time. And literally, I just signed off that show to come on this one. So I haven't even had a chance to collect my thoughts, go tinkle or anything. So anyway, I'm good. Born in Ireland.
We'll have a break at the top of the hour. So, but yeah, I want to really thank you for coming onto the show because you're so busy. I know how busy you are. I know, and you're always there serving other people. You know, people are just calling into you. How do you do this and how do you do that and everything like that? Because of course, well, when you have some remedies and when you have something to share with people, of course, people need to catch up with the technology. And this is basically what we're doing. Is it not to be sharing with people today the ultimate remedy for sovereigns, what we call sovereigns. But anyway, I'll leave it to you to explain
someone is listening. I just added them as a contact. To let you know, I mentioned about Googling the video. The video is Judge Bows to Sovereign. So there you go. And I think I still own the first, 10 pages of Google. I own the first two. As soon as you get to Judge Bows, Google brings it up for you. So I'd say it's a fairly busy hit if it's registering that high on the Google look list. But anyway, it's just a situation where there was no ticket, there was nothing, and what have you. It was just them trying to test me because I dared to tell them I'm going to be free now. This is back old news stuff. Notice of understanding, claim of right, which you can't do because you can do it. All it is a clue to them that you're awakening, and they'll hound you, and they did. They came after me hard and fast within a couple of days, and they're tailing me with cop cars and everything else. And here I am. It's like I had no issues. One of the volunteer community leaders in music and art in the city here, and hired regularly by the city to play and stuff. And I had the longest running show here at their A circuit for 6 years, 7 seasons. So I mean, it's not like I wasn't known in town, and for my benevolence, we actually set a world record here in this city as well for the world's longest concert. And as far as I know, it's still we still own the record. It was 201 hours. They only gave us credit for 200, but it was 201. So screw them, Guinness. I've got 4 world records on my wall. So yeah, music's been fun. Anyway. That was a good clue, actually. I just thought of that because, people think they can't change the world. Well, I got to tell you, I guess with a world record, you have changed the world in that regard and became that number one thing within, the planet. So it's kind of cool. Never thought of that. Thanks, Santo. You rock.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Getting back to the name. Yeah, the whole thing is. And we've talked about this in great length, and we spent a lot of time going over that little notice that put together with culmination of all my experiences with people that in my life and sharing theirs, called the Denique Ultimatum Revior Verum, which means essentially you must stand in truth. Also with the other titles I use on them all the time, which is Fiat Justitia Ruat Caelum, which is justice be done though the heavens may fall. So basically I told them, hey, guess what, guys? I'm all in. Though the heavens may fall. Does that kind of ring a bell for you? And that's what happened to me 2 years ago this month. And I made my choice to be the servant, the lowest of low of all servants, therefore, being greedy bitch that I am, taking the highest purpose. And, and you're right, Santo, it is crazy busy over here. I mean, I am one being. I've got lots of people around me now that are wide awake, like yourself and others, that know exactly who they are, and now can actually maybe give me a hand with notifying people, documents, and getting the word out how to use them. It's not just that the document is there. You got to know who you are first before you can use it. Otherwise, you're gonna the stuff that I write, and I will be blunt, and I will be most humbly non-arrogant. I haven't lost in any document that I've written. Every document I've written and used has trounced the system. The only time anything ever fails is the one trying to wield it doesn't understand it, doesn't know exactly who they are, doesn't know exactly what the document is meant to do. And that's the first thing I say to people once they get the documents, and many people have them now, that unless you know how to use it and who you are, don't. Be patient. Lose the drive-through mentality. Don't be so in a hurry to get yourself spotted and you don't know who you are. Because here's the game, guys. This is not about trying to stay under the radar. I mean, I spent a lifetime trying to do that, being transgendered and hiding, me. So, I'm sorry, universe will kick you out into the open. That's how universe works. This is about creation, life. Life abhors a vacuum. You create a vacuum by trying to hide, guess what? You get sucked right back into it. So it's time to stand. It's time to, and you're not alone, because you, Santo, myself, and many others that are standing on this hill with torches, and all we're doing is saying, look, we're here to help. And I do answer all my emails, and I do add all the contacts, and I do talk with people one-on-one. It's getting much more difficult now because I'm literally dealing with hundreds of people versus, 5 or 10 or 20. And that's one of the reasons why I bring people into our Skype chat room, because there's others there that can help, relieve the burden that you and I have and others have in informing them as to what's going on. And it really helps me out, because I tell you, I didn't get to bed till after 5 this morning, back up again at 10. So I don't get a lot of, the meat sticks just can't keep up with the spirit. I got to tell you that. But that being said, the spirit is strong enough to keep the meat stick going. And I'm not tired. I feel totally well rested. I mean, the night before, I had what I call a waking dream, which is, although I felt like I was sleeping, I wasn't. It was kind of hard to explain. It's like you're not sleeping at all, but you are asleep. So I was, busy being me, in the ether, and the body never had a chance to actually get rested up. But it doesn't matter, because we are suns, literally stars, and we are of infinite power and creation. We just forgot. And now that I bring that up, can you mention? Do you remember that gentleman you were talking about sipping from the cup of oblivion?
Yep, that's Scipio's Dream by Cicero.
Yeah, can you actually share that? Because that is going to resonate with people like nothing else, and they're going to. For me, it was a beautiful gauge as to exactly why I am and why I was so awake when I got here.
Oh yeah, it's my pleasure. I've actually, I think I've actually shared this on these Changing Times radio, because I love this passage, and I'm always trying to get it out, because holy science. Well, the Romans and the Greeks, what they called the holy science was astrology, and basically a mixture of astrotheology and astronomy, the stars, the star stuff. Because they knew, because they knew that the ancients taught that we come from above, so we're not from here, and that is, of course, our spirits. You see, so they knew this science, and what Macrobius did. He's a 4th century Roman writer. Macrobius's commentary on the Dream of Scipio by Cicero. Okay, so Cicero lived at least 500 years before Macrobius. But Macrobius is one of my favourite guys, because he wrote the Saturnalia, and in there he identifies about 40 ancient gods, and says that they are all the sun. You know, Helios is the sun, Bacchus is the sun, Dionysus is the sun, and this is, of course, what I've been proving in my videos. Anyway, I'll get straight to the point here. So he talks about the soul being drawn through the constellation of Cancer, because that's where souls come through, off the moon in Cancer. It's a portal. When the sun reaches that tropic, it hits that tropic, the solstice, the longest day of the year, bang, that's a portal. And souls come into the solar system, off the moon sphere, and they leave in Capricorn, the other portal, the other solstice, where Saturn rules, okay? So he's talking about that, and he says that as we come down into that sign of Cancer, right there is the bowl, the crater, the cup. And he says that the ancients put that right there in Cancer, in between Cancer and Leo, because as the soul descends, like the sun descends from the Tropic of Cancer all the way down to the Tropic of Capricorn, it descends to its death. So do we, but the first thing we do is we have a drink of that cup, the Holy Grail, right there in Cancer, where our souls come in. And this is how he says. Another clue to the secret is the location of the constellation of the Bowl of Bacchus. See, he calls it the Bowl of Bacchus, in the region between Cancer and Leo, indicating that there, for the first time, intoxication overtakes descending souls with the influx of matter, whence the companion of intoxication, forgetfulness, also begins to steal quietly upon souls at that point. Now, if souls were to bring with them to their bodies a memory of the divine order of which they are in the sky, there would be no disagreement among men in regard to divinity. But, indeed, all of them, in their descent, drink of forgetfulness, some more, some less. Consequently, although the truth is not evident to all on earth, all nevertheless have an opinion, since opinion is born of failure of the memory. Truth is more accessible to those who drank less of forgetfulness, because they more easily recall what they previously knew above. That is why in Greek the word for reading means knowledge regained. When we are learning the truth, we are relearning those things that we naturally knew before the influx of matter intoxicated our souls as they approached their bodies. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, that's why I wanted you to read it, because it is absolutely stunning. I mean, it gave me a sense of reality, because I mean, we already talked about as far as the torsion of the torsion field of our particular solar system, and the back concept of how it's trailing off, and yeah, and it what it did for me was, you know, we enter through the moon and back out through Saturn, right?
That's right.
I mean, the sun is our portal back to purity. So in order to get there, we have to be pure, and that's the only time you get pure is when you know yourself. And one of the biggest deceptions, beyond the greatest story ever told, you know, his story, I love it, is the corporate paper over of all mankind, by virtue of the Unum Sanctum 1302, Pope Boniface. Yeah, sorry. Just call him for what he is, guys. Pope Boniface VIII. And that's where he claimed title and property. It was the first express trust, and that was the original sin. And as soon as everybody had a name, they were in the game by consent. And I work under cosmic law, the Kabbalion Hermetic Code, Hermes Trismegistus. That's the law that we created as the one. Those are our laws, and none shall deny them. So I've been using those for a very long time in pushing the system back via honor, and with 100% success rate. It's amazing when you stand in peace, honor, truth, and love. You will not yield. you'd be amazed at the unseen forces that come to your side, and just everything works out coincidentally perfect. All things for a reason. But you got to wake up first, and you got to know that you're not the name, and that's what we've done. The original, we talked about this many times, Santo. One of the things that I was trying to hunt down was, okay, here we are. The game is honor and dishonor. How the hell are they getting us into dishonor every time, people would be foolish enough to step into one of their commercial courts, i.e. whatever court, I could care less, for a ticket like you were talking at the start of the show, which is absolute, balderdash. So the game was, I'd watched, and I helped tons and tons of people, have written hundreds upon hundreds of legal documents, shut down lawyers, law firms, courthouses, had courthouses sealed, had people thrown out of court, had a judge bow to me. I might know something, just maybe that I might have, because I was looking at what was going on, and I was being fluid in the now and seeing what they had done, and then I looked for how they got away with it and stayed in honor. And what it all finally boiled down to, and I knew this months and months ago, I was just trying to find a way to explain it to people, was what it all boils down to was the original sin of the birth certificate. That's the original contract. That's the contract that your parents sold you into slavery via the birth certificate bond. And they did it willingly, although unwittingly, because they weren't told all the details of the contract. They sold the name, registered, Regis Stir. Regis means to rule, Latin, and stir, any word with stir in it means creative feminine, so it's to rule, to create a feminine. So they're literally, when you register, you are literally, not figuratively, giving away your feminine creative aspect, and all that's left then is your masculine intention, and look where the hell that's got us. Have you noticed a war lately? I mean, this place is insane. It's absolutely insane. So when your parents registered you, the birth, right? They're even doing it in hospitals now before the kids are even born. That's how shit scared these guys are. And I'll be serving up some hospitals with some of this fraud truth to see if they're going to still, want to do that. So I think that's it's source. Where do the babies get registered? Hospitals. So let's start nailing the hospitals. Screw the law, the law firms and the courts and everything else. Let's just nail them right at source. They want to register children. Well, they better know they're committing fraud and actually aiding and abetting in procurement of slaves. I think under USC Code 18, that's kind of not good. The slavery thing. I think that involves a pretty heavy penalty. Might even be death. I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up. Yeah. I haven't looked at their legal garbage for a long time because it's totally irrelevant to reality. It's jurisfiction. Yeah. I am jurisdiction, which is spoken oath. They are jurisfiction, which is spoken garbage. And only by your consent, your free will consent. That's how. And they try to get you there because of the fear. Well, we're packing guns and this. I could care less. You've heard me before, Santo, and I'll say it every time. I said, if a cop ever came up to me with a gun, the first thing I'd tell him, based on the lessons that I had with the gun instructor, I did training, I do my due diligence and get educated on everything. He informed all of us in the class that he personally trained cops in my area, and that they're all really lousy shots because they only ever show up once a year. They don't bother going to practice, how to shoot, and he says they're all lousy shots. And so for that reason alone, I said, well, if a cop ever pulled a gun on me, I said, well, you better, based on what my gun instructor told me, you're going to come over here and you're going to shove that gun in my mouth because I don't want to get wounded today, and I certainly don't want anyone else outside around me to get hit because you guys are all lousy shots, apparently. So bring it on. They can't do a damn thing with flesh. They cannot. Only they will beat a slave. And they can do it in honor. And I've told people this too. If you're ever going to court, let me know, and I will be there. I will be there for you to make sure that judge has a cat of nine tails to whip your sorry ass for the slave and ignorant being you are. Because if you go into a courthouse, you don't know who you are. You think you're that fiction. And don't try pulling that stunt that I pull back. This is back, the Judge Bows thing. This is before a myriad of layers have been peeled off, and I've watched them back up step by step. As soon as we figure out one thing, I let them know, and here's the thing, service upon one is service upon all, and that goes through the whole court system around the world like wildfire, because they must stay in honor. at all costs. That's universal law. Otherwise, their game collapses. So I just keep pushing honor with a bulldozer. And they don't like me much. Oh, well, I love them. And I will try to heal them with truth. If they get it, great, that's their choice. And if they don't, great, that's their choice. There's nothing I can do about it. I will not trespass on free will choice. Choose. Simple, huh? Anyway, so am I ranting too much, or am I okay here?
No, making perfect sense. It's music to my ears. Look, I've just pulled up the word bond on Wikipedia, and it says, in finance, a bond is a debt security. It sounds awful. It really does. The word is just awful, isn't it, really? I mean, we think of a bond as a glue. You can bond parties together. You have a strong bond with your friends. But this is different. When your parents register you so conscientiously when you're born in that hospital. By the way, hospital is a military facility. And when you understand how the system works, you will understand that it is the military facility of the inquisitional arm of the Vatican. And they want your birth certificate because to Franco Collins's research, it is a baptism into the Holy Catholic Church, which is their right because they have the highest claim of right, unum sanctum, and they have declared that the whole earth shall belong to them. So
all the title and property, all the paper, pay-per, P-A-Y-P-E-R. Yes, you're absolutely right. But that's all they get. They get their personal loot.
Exactly. So our conscientious parents have sold us to the Vatican and bonded us in the process. Interesting. A debt security.
Yeah, just a little. I call the bond spirit glue. It's how they glue you, the spirit, to the fictional name, ego. And I do want to clarify that because I'm trying to go back to what I was talking about just the last show I did, and things that I like to clarify. People need to grasp this very quickly because people say you've got such an ego, and they take it personally. No, that's not the intention. What I'm trying to tell you is you have an ego. It's like like a virus, an implant, if you will. And it literally is. It's in there by design in the DNA. It's called the reptilian brainstem, and the ego operates out of that. That is the id entity, identity. Show me your identification, your identification, right? Which means it's a separate entity. It is not you. It is a program. You, the beautiful, purest, perfect spiritual being, need to become the virus to that program and literally wipe it off your hard drive because it was implanted there. And we'll go into some spiritual things, but one thing that people need to know in terms of the DNA, there are 250 genomes in the human DNA that exist nowhere else on this planet. Only in human form, only in the human DNA. Might tell you something that it's not actually of this world, and it's not. It was actually put here as part of a program for man to be slaves and for different uses later. We'll get into that another time. But the important thing that people need to remember, you nailed it with the bond. Look at stocks and bonds. Do you want stocks and bonds? Stocks, you stick your head and your hands in and they throw tomatoes and stuff at you. Or do you want bond? You want to be glued to something. And they're quite literal in the words that they use. They tell you up front, up close and personal, that we're going to screw you. We're going to tell you exactly how, and you're going to miss it because it's going to be so obvious. You're going to miss the forest and the trees looking for wood. Well, I found the forest, the trees, and the wood. And right now there's a beautiful bonfire going. How about you, Santo?
Yeah, beautiful bonfire. Destruction of bonding.
Yeah, bonfire. There, look at you, Mr. Creative. You must be a musician like me, huh?
Yeah.
Anyway, chuckle. And honestly, people are going to go, well, it can't be that easy. Yeah, it is. And the fact that it is that easy is why you can't believe it. You need it complicated. You need it so messed up to match the illusion of this crazy complicated world the world, WHIRLED, this whirlwind around you, that your ego will fight tooth and nail to keep your body in pure pleasure survival mode, because the ego only lives while the reptilian brainstem lives. The id entity dies upon the death of the body, so of course it's only interested in what? Not your survival, its own, for as long as possible. So maybe you might want to get rid of that little gnat that has, it's a tick, it has attached itself like a parasite, and it is a parasite to you, and the bodies that we inhabit as the spiritual beings we are come pre-gifted with that virus, and some of us, fortunately, weren't quite affected as badly. So we spend a lot of our time walking through life, looking around, going, why are people seeing this? Am I crazy? And you start questioning yourself because you're not of the norm, you know. And me being the freak of nature DNA being that I am, that one was a gimme. That was a mulligan of highest order. So I spent a lifetime trying to be wrong about it. So the ego with me didn't stand a chance. You know, some people, and I used to get accused of this all the time, that I came across as, you know, arrogant on stage. And this is not at all. What I was doing was I was overcompensating for my absolute terror of stage fright. And it taught me how to control that, you know, that fear essence and, you know, channel it into something else. So I literally became a different entity. I became me once the fear was gone. So I spent many days and hours and weeks and months and years practicing being me. So that was a part of it as well. I hid in plain sight on, you know, center stage. So that was another great clue. My whole life, if you're looking for your purpose in life, people, have a look at your entire life and put one thread through it. What is that one thing that you know is the burning desire of you? And you'll see what your life purpose is. Mine was very easy because I knew at a very young age that I wanted to help everybody. I remember I was 7 years old and I said to my friend's dad across the street, I was over there one day, and I forget how the conversation came up, but I was 7, and he said something to me, and I just looked at him and I says, well, my feeling is when I win, we'll all win. Because, you know, it had to do with people. You know, I think the comment he'd made was, you know, it's lonely at the top. And I puzzled with that, thinking, well, how is it lonely at the top if you have all your friends with you? But you see, in the material world, you can't have all your friends with you because you're too busy out screwing everybody else over. Not much honor in that, huh? And this is why money will never work, because people they transfer their energy into a fiat, fictional currency, look at the electrical aspect. And, you know, then everyone's squabbling over, I want the flat screen, I want, you know, look at Black Friday, you know, in the U.S., for example, the last bunch. And you got people that have lined up for days looking to get $10 off or say $100 off a flat screen TV. And I mean, for crying out loud, people, look at the purpose of your life. You got to go get your, you know, your iPod 18, or your, you know, like they keep coming out with new stuff to replace the old stuff that was never any good to begin with. It's like adding options to a car every year, so you got a new selling feature. I don't know. I get in my car and I turn the key and the engine starts and it gets me to where I need to be. Cool, huh? It's simple, but people are so wrapped up, and they've got everyone trained into being consumers, right? You know, here's a little challenge for everybody. Instead of going out and thinking that you need that next gadget to pile up on your pile of junk that you already have, and probably have a storage unit to keep your excess stuff. George Carlin said it so well. I mean, where else in the world do you need a storage unit to keep your stuff? If you need a storage unit to keep stuff that you're not using, you obviously didn't need it. You know, so it's like lose the greed.
I mean, we have cabinets with glasses, crystal glasses that we don't even take out. We perhaps dust them once a year. You know, we've got these beautiful wooden carved cabinets, and they've got glass doors, and you know, inside there you see all these crystal glasses. I mean, down in Africa, the little kids there sometimes to get a drink, they have to lift the tail of a donkey and wait for it to have a piss, and that's their drink. They don't even have glasses.
Yeah, it's crazy, you know, and that's the thing is my home, my castle, my embassy, and it is an embassy recognized as such, here is open to all, and those that are hungry, I will feed. I haven't had an income for 2 years, by the way. Okay, I was completely and strictly relying upon those. If I helped you, if you want to help me back, that would be great. And I pretty much got left, other than a handful of wonderful beings that periodically have helped me out. I was left to my own device, and it was a good thing that I spent 20 years collecting silver and gold, because that's what I've lived off of. And all the truth that I'm sharing today, and I like to make a point of this, Santo, because it's very important, all the truth that I share, I've already paid for. I want nothing from you. If you feel it's valuable and you want to flip something this way, it's a little hard. I don't have bank accounts. I don't exist in their system. By all means, please do so. I think we'll work something out, but it's for the benefit of all. That would be great, but I don't care. You know, that's not my purpose. I don't have a vested interest in the truth. I just want it to be, you know. And it's not my truth or your truth. It's truth is truth, and you got to learn to. You don't need ego needs to be right, and it can't be wrong. It must be right, and it will fight tooth and nail to prove that it's right. It will, you know, it will get angry, and it will fly in the face of someone else who's trying to share love and peace with you, and to the point where it wants to kill you. Okay, because you're impinging on it, the survival of the pleasure stick, the meat, the body, that. You know, the car that you drive around in. I mean, for people that are listening, you obviously, let's say you have a car out in the driveway. What's it doing? Nothing. It's sitting there, and it won't do anything until you get in and animate it. And that's all we do. We are the animators of these meat sticks. Unfortunately, the meat sticks that we end up getting have been tampered with prior to our getting them in the DNA, and we have to run past this program in order to be awake. So learn to separate the ego and you. The it entity is not you; it is a program. And if you ever hear me say that it's your ego talking, I'm not talking that you're being rude. It's nothing to do with you. I love you. You're perfect. You're beautiful. You know, here I am telling people you're the most perfect being I know, and then but your ego is an asshole. Pardon the French. You know, and then they get all, well, what do you mean my ego's? I'm not you. Your ego, and then see what I mean? You know, and again, they run these demon circuits and circles that they don't realize it's the ego doing the talking for them. And if they just got inside just for a second to see who they really are, the most beautiful thing, and that anger and fear is a program, once they see the difference, it is night and day. It is black and white. There are no gray areas here. Then they'll see, for the first time, they'll actually see and know love. They will. And that's all I'm trying to share. And all I'm asking is when I give the truth away, Santo, just don't waste it. It came at a very high price. A very high price. My dad had to leave this planet to give me the last key for this gift that I'm giving back. He gave me the key where I had to be forced to travel internationally to put his ashes with my mom in Ireland. I went to Ireland on a passport I got from the British High Consulate on my terms, not theirs. Because I would not commit fraud in the name, and they acquiesced to everything. Yes, I understand. Yes, you're right. No, I don't want you to commit fraud. Yes. Well, just come up here. We have to see you. Yes, I know. I have to go there to be recognized in the flesh and blood. Yes, yes, you do. I know the routine. Same with the provost marshal. They will not act until you are recognized, or better yet, until I appoint and recognize them. So I will. That's coming up next. I just haven't had time trying to help people, but the truth of the matter is, I had to go up there, and my application on where they, and I don't care about their legalese. You guys can go off and play legalese and Black's Law. Well, application means by complete. I don't give a shit what it means. I know what my intentions are. I'm putting information on a piece of paper for them because their jurisdiction needs it. And the title that I placed on it was ambassador, not Mr., Miss, Ms., and Mrs. And they knew I was transgendered. They knew they got the neutral gender wrong. They actually thought I was male. I mean, yeah, for the most part, people would assume that, but when I actually wear the clothes that fit, no, not at all. Well, for those on Skype, you see my picture, and not a whole lot of boy there. What do you think, Santo?
Yep, spot on.
You know,
Beautiful. Music to my ears so far. So you rock up there, and you get your own passport, and you go back to Ireland, and bury your father because you know who you are. So you're not going anywhere as a mister. You're not going anywhere as your name. You're just using identification in this case because you are under duress. It's of necessity.
As I told him, I said, listen, I'm not going to try to travel around dealing with the ignorance of your lower minions who do not know the real law and what I'm talking about. I need this so that I'm kept safe from harm from those that you will not educate and you're keeping them ignorant. So yes, by now the rule of necessity, natural law kicks into full gear, and it was yep, you're right, and I've never been through customs so fast in my life. I'd love to know what came up on the screen every time they ran the thing through. And something else I need to get across to people with regards to passports. The passport isn't you. If you read the inside cover of the front page, you'll see that you're the bearer of the passport. Big difference. You're just the one carrying the passport. So, I mean, those who make the laws shall obey the laws, and once a fraud is revealed, it is null and void, nunc pro tunc, and I just make them accountable to that. And the simple fact is, once you know who you are, you can use their ID to keep you safe, and that's the only way you can use it. I don't carry any anyway. It doesn't bother me. I don't need it. You know, if someone ever asked me for ID, I'd say, you can't see me? Do you need a psych evaluation? Are your eyes good or bad? You can't hear me? Why do you need a piece of plastic or a piece of paper to tell you who I am? I just did. Huh? I just love it. It's amazing, you know. But once you know who you are and you start standing in it, it's not about being arrogant and look I can push around. No, it's not that at all. It's actually the opposite. This is about showing love, compassion. You know, when I was coming back through the Canadian customs, got to the last girl there, and the last question she asked me was, well, do you have your PR card? And that's kind of the immigration thing, because I'm, you know, in their terms, a landed immigrant. I'm an earthling. I just came to a different part of Earth. I just looked at her and went, no, what do I need that for? I live here. And she just looked at me and said, okay, have a nice day. And I just, you know, but again, it's not being arrogant. It's like you're being truthful, and to the point where you know what the truth is, and beings will resonate. And these guys, although they're trained at a very low level, they're trained that when they come across beings that know their stuff and know who they are, they yield, and they are told to yield because there's honor at stake here on a universal level that messes their whole system up. You got to understand, their whole system is it's resting on a pinpoint. It's an upside-down pyramid, and it just takes a little tink, and it's done. And well, guess what? We found the sledgehammer to knock that pyramid over. If you're willing to stand in it and use it and know who you are, it's yours for the taking. It's yours for the asking. It was, like I said, bought and paid for at great cost. And I offer it to you, as I've offered to all, as the servant for all. Yours. It's yours. I made it for you. It'd be such a waste if it was just for me. That would be greedy. You know?
Yep. Now, this Denique document, basically a notice of fraud, isn't it?
Oh, totally, it's fraud. Again, you're using Crown-owned property. You see, if you claimed it's like this. If you walked up to the bank and claimed to be your neighbor, what do you think would happen? You know, it's the same thing. I mean, you're using somebody else's title and property without your permission. You didn't call the Crown up and say, listen, I know that the name isn't mine. Is it okay if I use it? And they don't want you to do that, because they know that if you wake up to what we're talking about right now, if you wake up to that, they're screwed. They're totally screwed, because the contract's now null and void. It was made in deception, deceptios, and it was made in fraud. And a fraud revealed is null and void, nunc pro tunc. Now for then, as if it never was. Nunc pro tunc.
Yep.
You know? So, and only then, once you wake up to that truth, and it's as simple as using this document, getting a copy, and you'll only ever see a copy because the originals are living documents with footprints on them. Typically, you'll find those in the Vatican vaults or you know, some large vault in the City of London. They keep them all on their land, though. The 3 city-states that are countries unto themselves: City of London State, Vatican City State, and Washington District of Columbia State. You know, those are entirely different nations unto themselves. And if you carry an American passport, Australian passport, a Canadian passport, I don't care what country you're from, if you're a citizen of any of these crown-owned countries, and they're all crown-owned, then you are, in fact, by default, a citizen of the City of London, state. Therefore, that's why you're a foreign enemy. That's why you're an enemy of the state, regardless of the country you live in. If you have sworn allegiance to that nation, I pledge allegiance to the flag, and oh, please, give me a break. Cry me a river. You swear allegiance to a flag? What about where you live? What about your community? What about your friends and family? Screw them too? I mean, that's what you're doing, but you're by default a citizen of the City of London, state, crown property, and by default of the Triple Crown, Holy Roman Empire. You are a Roman citizen. If you believe in their God, you have to follow their law book, the Bible, the Koran, the Kabbalah. I don't care what book it is written by man. It's all the same God, has a bunch of different names, and it's all basically Satan worship. Beelzebub, Baal, Babylon. I mean, guys, wake up. It's all there. I mean, how frustrating, Santos, is it to know what you know and try to share it with people without them going off, half-cocked with religiocosis of some kind, saying, oh, Jesus is my savior, and they go off on this bloody tangent of, look at the program just spewing out of your reptilian brainstem. Where are you? You're beautiful. I want to see you. Yet they refuse to see it. What a perfect overlay they did. So here we are, the viruses, eh?
Yep.
Yep. And I know what we're saying, Santo, is resonating to a level that most people haven't felt in a very, very long time. Truth has that effect, and don't take my word or Santo's word for it. Look for yourself.
Yeah. Well, look, Kate, you've seen my videos. Now, in there I deal a lot in astrotheology, because astrotheology and mastering astrotheology is the key to understanding and deciphering the whole fictional system that Rome has set up, right?
Yeah,
Now,
show. I said people that have religion issues and whatever want to know what's going on, go watch Santos Bonacci's videos. Santos, you nailed it. So go ahead. Yep. You nailed it. People need to watch.
Yeah, and what I've been showing is that the whole system, the Roman system, is and their science, their religion, their law, admiralty law, etc. It's all fictional. And so, but I really, only until I served this notice of fraud, which you've drafted up so beautifully and given as a gift to all of mankind when they awaken to how powerful this document is. Only until I did that, together with my sons, my son made a conscious decision at the age of 19, to send that document to the Attorney General in the City of London on the same day. Only until I did that 8 days ago, I think it was 8 days ago now, right? Did I really live in honour and honestly to what I'm teaching and talking about for the last couple of years? Because I've been saying that the system is Babylon the Great. Babylon the Great will fall in 1 hour, and all the merchants and all the commercial men and the leaders of the world will cry in misery at the fall of this house of cards that is the Roman kingdom, the kingdom of ideas. When it falls, and it will, it's falling before our eyes right now, and consciousness is the destroyer of it, and exposure of its crimes is what will destroy it. When that is destroyed, then we will be free. Now, I've been preaching that it's going to be destroyed, and here I am, I'm still hanging on to my name. Oh, I'm Santos Bonacci, as it says on my birth certificate. Well, I mean, I've been a sovereign for a couple of years now, but being a sovereign is not enough. One must lose the name in order to win the game. It's simple as that. There's no other way.
Yep, you nailed it.
If you do not want to share with her in her sins, Get out of Babylon the Great, my people. That's what I. So now I'm living in harmony with what I've been preaching for the last 2 years. So I'm rejoicing.
And I want you to share your. This was a big thing. I'll give you a little preamble to set you up for this. When we were talking about getting that document notarized, I knew in my heart of hearts that the chances of it getting notarized were about 100% against. But just on the off chance, the hope, and we talked about this, the hope was that a notary would notarize it and prove the fraud once and for all, and that would have been the end game right there. That would have been your hour of Babylon, right? This is how critical this is. But tell the good listeners, the beautiful, most perfect beings listening right now, because they've shelved their egos and put them on into the shredder where they belong. Share with them your experiences with the two notaries that you went to try and get this notarized with. Please. It's a beautiful story. I love when you tell this.
Yeah, well, my son and I, we took off 3/4 of our drive to see a notary that most of the sovereigns go to because he's pretty cool with them and he notarizes their documents. But in this case, when we turned up at 11 a.m., he went white. And he said, I can't do this. I can't sign this. He was an old Italian gentleman. He was really a well-known notary in the Italian community here in Melbourne, which is quite big. But he said to me that he couldn't do it, and he was very, very afraid of this document. He said, I'm sorry, you'll have to try someone else. So we went, we booked a 1:30 appointment on the same day in the city, another notary. And this guy has got a very lavish firm in the city, in one of the towers there. You know, you go up 20 stories or whatever, there's his office. And walked in, walked out 3 minutes later. He looked at it, he says, sorry, I cannot notarize this document. He was white. And I could tell, he was looking at me as though, whoa, man, you are loaded with some very, very powerful device in your hands, buddy. That is dangerous. Get out of here.
That's good, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's and we had one other gentleman who kind of moved the queen over top of a pond before the pond was moved, and I got to give him full credit though. He saw what it was and went for it. But what he hadn't done was there's a long story here, but I'll keep it short. What he had done was he had served the document to a local court and whatever, and he had sent it registered, and they tried right away to give it back to him. He wouldn't accept it. And they did come and pick him up, yesterday, because he hadn't given back the birth certificate. So they saw they're out with it. Now, what he has effectively done is proven everything that we're talking about by virtue of he hadn't sent the birth certificate back yet. So they had to wait until they figured that part out. So they've just unraveled themselves. And we have a new William Wallace in Scotland. So I have to say, well done. So very well done. Yes, there are many of us out front taking the strides, planting the roses for others to smell. You know, I mean, people have told me that. I said that years ago. Well, why do you stop and smell the roses? Take some time. I said, well, I would, but I'm just too busy walking the road ahead planting new ones. I'll stop when the garden's complete, and we're almost there. And what a beautiful garden we have. It's absolutely stunning. So I just got an email I want to share with you. It just came in from Mike, and this only because I love you so much. He wrote, documents to share, please. You and Santos are the hottest things out there. My daughter is mesmerized with Santos stuff. Thanks. How's that? Is that a good flow for you?
Wow.
They should be mesmerized with you. You're stunning. You've nailed the religion to the wall. I took care of the legal side of things with the help of many others. This is not just my effort. Everything I write, everything I do, everything I am is the culmination of my experiential with every essence of life that I have come into contact with. So I have to say thank you to all for the gifts you have given me. I'm just trying to give them back to you. You gave them, I'm returning. That's how balance, law of rhythm, law of correspondence works. Yes?
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's it. And what a gift you've returned to mankind, Kate. Look, let's take a song break, and when we get back, can we get into the document? It's a 4-page document together, or 5. I think it's 5 now, isn't it? It's a 5-page document together with the birth certificate, which is an original, which is the proof of the fraud, which you attach to this document. This is all you have to do. You attach the birth certificate, and then, of course, you will explain the 4-corn ring and the toe print that you put on the bottom of the page, etc. We'll get into that and the procedure, and then we'll also talk about how you get by after you've done this process. How do you talk to policemen when they pull you over and they say, right, do you have any ID or whatever? How do you interact from that moment on? So let's cover those. And look, we'll just go for a song break and be back in 3 or 4 minutes. How's that?
Good. Tinkle break. Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll catch you on the other side. Thanks, Santos. Thanks, guys.
And welcome back to These Changing Times Radio for the second hour. You're with Santos Bonacci and Kate of Gaia, special guest. Now, this is the second interview I've done, really. Kate, we did one last week on American Freedom Radio, so if there's any of you listeners tune into that station too, there's an archive there, and we've basically covered the same stuff, but probably on a different angle. Yeah, I would say slightly different. It was. So probably worth listening to also, so that you can wrap your mind around the concept of losing the name and winning the game. So let's talk about this document then, shall we? What it consists of, and what people can liken it to, perhaps, so that they can have some sort of an image of what this document is and how it works.
Okay, I'm just going to crack a couple of things open here. A number of documents that I have that are kind of preamble for the Deni-K ultimatum to get people at least into the headspace of how to figure it out. Because I got to tell you, I've written many documents using all manner of spell breaking, using their words against them to let them know that the spell is indeed and in fact broken, so that there will be no mistake as to what the word I'm referring to and its intention is. So I've written some very interesting things, and this document at first read, most people will just kind of glaze over. Every word in that document was written for a reason. That is the culmination of literally hundreds of documents written and thousands upon thousands of hours and full life experience. Every word in that document I have lived. It's not theory. None of it's theory. I don't deal in theory. That's for, people that want to regurgitate someone else's ideas. I chose to live my life and put it down on paper, much like my songs. Go figure. Okay, so I think the first one that I will share with people that want it, I've got to get a web page where I can put all these up so people can just grab them, because I got to tell you, Santo, it's all I can do to keep up, and it's killing me to have to keep opening and transferring and opening and transferring. It's gotten crazy here. It's just gotten crazy. So I need help with that.
Yeah, well, I thought about something. I thought we might have to do a series, and because these are being recorded, these shows, and perhaps there can be an archive of audio files on These Changing Times Radio for people to listen to, so that they can really get familiar with this concept, because it's the ultimate remedy in the universe. The universe works.
Yeah, it's all based under cosmic 7 laws, all lined up in perfect full honor, and that's the way you have to live. You cannot. There is no vested interest here. There can be no gain, no claim, because here's the problem with the ego. This is more preamble to the Deni-K and why it works, and this is the way it works. With the ego, it is all about pure body survival. Nothing else. It cares not for you. It wants pleasure. It wants food. It wants heat. It wants toys. It wants distraction. It wants games. It wants everything. Excuse me, because it only has that one lifetime in the excuse me again, in that body to live. So it wants to make the most of it, and that is the distraction. And what people have to understand is, if you're going after something like, say, a UCC, which is absolute utter chaos now because they're putting people in jail for that shit. I know, I've seen it, and it's because we've pushed this back to the point where anyone trying to do anything in what they claim to be in a sovereign way are immediate targets. And because you are committing fraud by using the name, they're just gonna tase you, beat you, jail you. You'll be off to Guantanamo Bay. I promise you that. So time is short. This is the awakening, people. This is it now. And if you don't wake up to this, you are at the mercy, because with every truth that we've revealed, it's just made them more and more desperate. Or haven't you noticed? Right? So this is why people need to wake up. They need to know who they are. You have no business in a court. Only the person does. And if you go in there trying to, dispute something or correct something, I mean, a year ago that would have worked, because they still had much of this hidden until we got to this very basic of truths. If you walk in there, you're committing fraud. If you carry ID, you're committing fraud. It is that simple. I cannot make it any clearer than that. So let's get to the Denny K here. I'll pull it up we'll touch on a couple of things that are of critical importance. Actually, I've got one here. I gave you the article. It's actually something I have on my door. So if anyone ever showed up, which they don't, they leave me alone. They know better. This is what they would read. Here it is. And this will tell you, in essence, what you're doing when you use the name. You are actually trespassing. So now, you're trespassing if you are a third-party interloper on behalf of any and all Crown, Vatican, D.C. corporations, and/or you act in the Crown-owned registered name. You are fraudulently claiming as your name, which isn't, by virtue of your proof of sale called the birth certificate, by your descendant bloodline to the Crown, Vatican, via unum sanctum 1302, as has been challenged, which I did, and acquiesced to by aforementioned, which is me, okay? And/or you have sworn, vowed, consented, affirmed, attested, etc., your allegiance to any and all Crown, Vatican, D.C.-owned corporations, knowingly or unknowingly, as a citizen, employee, agent, bar member, etc., and are, in fact, acting in fraud and dishonor and are party to criminal actions in full and lawful accountability. And something else, too. People say, well, you've got civil court and you've got criminal court. Well, okay, with civil, it's all about fraud, okay, or, financial stuff or whatever, right? You have to have a contract. In civil, it's all about the contract. In the universe, it's all about the contract. Now, let's go criminal. The three real crimes are harming someone, which you do not do, harming someone's property or belongings or whatever, which you do not do, and or committing fraud. So in civil, if you're using the name, what are you doing? You're committing fraud. And that's why civilly, when you get a ticket, the cops will arrest you because you're actually committing pure fraud. Now, most of the guys on the street, now I want to get into this too as more preamble, the cops on the street don't know this. Oh, but their chiefs do, I know, because I know the one in town personally does. Because his deputy chief backed out after, he retired after 3 years, because as soon as he got in there, he was notified. I got all this inside information. It's amazing how the birds sing when the truth flies. And the inside info came right back to me in that the deputy chief went into severe depression because the chief had let him in on what was really going on, and it destroyed him. He thought he was doing something honorable by being a cop.
Yeah.
And, when you get proofs like that given to you, and, I can't even begin to tell you the path that I've been on. And the show we did on American Freedom Radio Sunday night, your Monday, actually we talked more about the journey of how I got to where I am in different circumstances. So I would recommend, it is an entirely different show than tonight. Listen to that, and I'll give you some background on Santo and myself and how we got to where we are. But I got to tell you, civilly or criminally, you're committing fraud if you're using their name. And they don't tell their street line guys. What you have to do is stop trying to think that you're going to interact with them. And what do I do if I get pulled over? And the only way to stop it is to stop it before it happens, and you have to let their higher-ups know. This is about taking on the generals, guys, not about taking on the corporals and the sergeants that don't know shit. Okay? This is where, I remember the first time I sent my emails off to the Vatican, the Crown, the Queen, the President, the Prime Ministers, and you name it, the Rothschilds, and there was a little bit of tension on my finger before I hit send. Okay? So don't think that there wasn't ego working there. It was had a little fear, but I said, damn it, I got to send. And it's like, oh, yes, it's too late now. And guess what? The world changed again, and I've watched the world change many, many, many times. So have you. And I'm talking to you, Santo, and I'm talking to everyone out there. Don't think you can't change the world, because how dare you think you can't? When that video came out, do you think I honestly for 1 minute believed that I was going to, factor into a paradigm shift of how people looked at courts? And yeah, I mean, there's shills still that have been there from day one that are still in there. Like, these guys are literally paid to hover on that and you'll know them, Grey Wolf and Debunker 2011 and all these guys. They're all paid to stay on these sites to ridicule and lay false claim. It's hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. And the fact is, it's always the same guys. And it's at any point in the day, it's crazy. You can go in there and they're posting like they got nothing better to do with their lives. Of course not. They're getting paid to do it. They're on their 8-hour shift. So, I get a great chuckle out of this stuff. And the thing is, people are, well, I want to be under the radar. I don't want... No, you've got to be as visible as possible. You've got to tell these guys right out of the gate that, hey, I'm right here. And as I tell everyone, bring it on, bitch. I'm all in. You in? I'm in. I'm taking it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's play.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
piss off an Irishman. We're beautiful people, but don't piss in our pint. That's just not going to happen. Sorry. Go ahead, Sano.
No, well, the visibility factor, be visible with this. Be free. Why should we keep it a secret, and why should we want to do anything out of fear? Anything. Not a thing should we do out of fear. Everything should be out of love. So when we send this document off lovingly to the Attorney General in London, we send it off with love. Thank you for accepting this document. You have a very, very busy schedule with your business of fraud. I don't want to enjoy any contracting with your business. Thank you, Mr. Attorney General. You've been notified.
Exactly. And here's the joy of it, too, because every contract that is out there, mortgages, loans, credit cards, bank accounts, car loans, everything out there is all fraud, and this letter makes it all go away. I shit you not. I've got a couple of little ones that I've done up for people with the Denique attached to it, that they can send to law firms, they can send to courts, they can send anywhere, and you will not get a response because they cannot breathe life into something real, or they'll be committing fraud. Just like a notary can't sign it, they can't answer it. If they do, they're done. And they're already done anyway, so it's a win-win situation. It's a catch-22, damned if they do and damned if they don't. You see, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you want the assets, then you must take equal responsibility for the liabilities in this game. It's all duality. It is about electromagnetism. It is about positive and negative. It is about left-hand turn, right-hand turn, clockwise, counterclockwise. Everything in this illusion is duality, and we are on our way back home. We're on our way back to Source Creator, and she's waiting with open consciousness. And we've got a beautiful game going on, and you got to see it for what it is. But I cannot stress more that the only tool that the system has is fear. And the minute you stand in the face of that fear with a big smile and go, I love you, and I've owned more cops that way, it destroys it. Love conquers all, and evil will destroy itself. I just help it along with a little bulldozer I have. I call the Denique the flamethrower. It clears houses of cards very quickly. So if you want to get rid of everything, And oh, here's something else. I got to say this, and this is for any Americans listening or anyone that has a voting system. If you vote, you are actually giving away your free will choice to be ruled, and they will beat your sorry ass to the ground. So I don't care what party you follow, fall low. Get it? Fall low. Listen to the words. Any party you follow, you've given away all of your authority. If you vote, slave. If you register, slave. It's all about slavery. And what we've done is effectively taken that layer and peeled it off. It's done. It's a big scab. Now we're healing. We've ripped off the Band-Aid. We've ripped off the scab called Linum Sanctum and all the rest of the bull that they have. Papal bulls that are, hey, Santo, and we, this is fact, papal bulls are written on the skins of freshly sacrificed children with their blood. Look it up. It's a fact. Their magic is very dark. Autographs create living documents, and that's why by you autographing, signing, you've taken your living form and turned it into a sign. Sign, everywhere sign. You know that routine, right? Everything about this universe, they want you with signs. You know, they got signs to make you go, signs to make you stop, sign this, sign that, sign the other. Signature, signature. You know, you got to learn to see what the words are. Don't assume that when I say you're right, I spelled it R-A-G-H-T, because actually I'll usually mean R-I-T-E. That is my right. That is my ritual. Like even the local politician here, for their Canadian government thing, his motto, slogan on his electoral thing was doing the right thing. Yeah, you're right, you are. But they spelled it R-A-G-H-T. So, I mean, they tell you, it's all in the open. You just have to open your eyes enough to see it. And you got to, for the first time in your life, say that you might have been wrong about everything because, damn it, I did. And it was the most freeing thing I've ever had, because the ego, once you decide that you are wrong, the ego starts to slowly abate and it starts to get destroyed. It's a tough pill to swallow. I know. I choked on it for a long time. A long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, the Denike is all about setting yourself free. Do you want me to go over a little bit of it, Santo?
Oh, yeah, please.
Okay, let me just pull it up here. Excuse me, I've got my standard open file here. The one that I served to the Hague, yeah, it's the same one. Okay. Oh yeah, the Hague. I do things in steps, and I also, anytime I send an email, I make sure everyone is in the same two. Everything is visible in the two. They're all part and parcel, served together. I like to keep growing families together, corporate fraudsters and all. This works for banks. It works for everything. And okay, let me get down here because there's. Ooh, wow. When I send out an email, they go out. I send to a lot of people, eh, Sono? Okay, so it starts off Fiat Justitia Ruat Salem, Denike Ultimatum Referior Verum. And with a little asterisk to let them know that your spells are no longer, and this is more for people that are getting this information for the first time. All words / words, W-H-I-R-R-E-D-S, null and null that follow, null, shall be of calm man use only, and where spellings, sounds, malintents are null and void ab initio ad infinitum nunc pro tunc. And it's a notice of fraud and intent to commit fraud via any and all means, third-party interloping, etc., at all, by omission and or commission. R.E., here it is. Returned Crown Roman property in the form of the apostilled copy of the birth certificate fraud bond titled, and it had my old all-caps name that they own on it, the boy name, that in the light of day commonly known as Gregorian calendar September 1st, 2010, quantum English, and is evidenced on and by videoed evidence collection, judge bows to sovereign and witnessed by tens of millions, including but not limited to any and all assumed, presumed, vowed in oath, to, sworn to, attested to, vowed to, aligned with, allegiances of, by, for, or to any titles and or property. Santo, they don't get more thorough than this. I mean, every word is thought about, every angle. We spent 3 hours after the document was done just to, let's make this really pretty. And we made sure.
Let me tell you something here. When I read this document, I know there are no leaks in this document. I've studied David Wynne-Miller's syntax language. I went to his seminar when he came out here, weekend seminar, got his books, got his videos. gone down that path. I've gone down, John Harris and Rob Menard and Tim Turner and Mary Croft, and they're all great. They're all gems. Veronica Chapman, who's another twin spirit like yourself, agenda. In England, they're doing a wonderful job. All of these guys, Brian Gerrish. So, I know what these guys are talking about. This document is leak-proof.
That's the whole thing about, and I'm glad you mentioned a lot of the names you did. Mary Elizabeth Croft was the one that gave this butterfly her wings. That was a long time ago, and I sent off a very special email to her that was, long story, but it was a very personal thing, and what a wonderful being. One of the things that I like to stress with people, if you are seeking remedy in the system, or if someone is seeking remedy in the system by any means, way, shape, or form, run away. The gurus will be the first to run, and I've seen it happen too many times.
Yeah.
They get people in trouble trying to work a system, and I tell you right now, Santo, you know this and I know this. You try to pull any of the remedies that they're using in their system, you will get tased. If you think you're going after something, you will get beaten and jailed. You will disappear. It's got to that point. And that's not to put fear into people, that's to give it a reality. Know thyself, and know thyself quickly. The tools are there.
They know their game better than we do. And as soon as we work out something in their game, they set about patching that up with their lawyers and their legislation, patch that little loophole up so that they can always be on top in their game. How can you win if you're in their field, in their playing field? It doesn't work.
No, they wrote the rules to suit themselves. Those who make the rules shall obey the rules, and they made us part of their system through that fraudulent consent, and they drew us in by deception with the selling of the name at the birth. Right. I just had a quick question here. Just want to clarify something on nunc pro tunc. It translates literally into now for then, which means basically as if it never was. Okay. Again, I've done countless hours of research in etymology, deciphering thousands upon thousands of words, literally to their core. Like the word admiralty means to bog down all love. Well, geez, Kate, how'd you get that? Well, it's easy. Ad is Latin for two. Mire means bog down, all, literally. And T is the highest note in the scale, meaning love. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. And the only thing that conquers law is T. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, T, the law society. Well, we have to be the love society. I mean, even Charlie Veitch got it right with Love Police. He has some beautiful videos these days. He's in a beautiful zone. Just heard from him yesterday, so it's beautiful to see that. I have the documents for him when he's ready to take them, so I'm still waiting for that. We'll see. Once somebody who's actually in the circle, emails and stuff like that, I just deal with them through the messaging and YouTube right now. But if anyone has it and gets a hold of these, get them over to them, because there's another one that's out in the open. So many are out in the open. I got to tell you, there is no remedy in court. There is none. There never was. There never will be. You are always meant to be a slave, and they will treat you as such. And I call it, if you go to court, it's the same as playing the lottery. Only by playing the lottery are your chances slightly increased. And it's the same with the courts. And every so often they let somebody win, and of course they put on the front page, man wins $1 million in a lawsuit. Somebody spilled hot coffee and sued, Tim Hortons, right? So what are they doing? They're appealing to the greed, right? The ego. Oh, look, somebody got $1 million. We're getting burned. I wonder how I can do that, right? Of course, they're feeding that. That's a lottery mentality, right? Look what they say for here in Canada with the lotto 649. Just imagine. That's what they want you doing. They want you off imagining that you're this and that and the other, and you go out and you buy their foolish, poor people tax. That's all lotteries are. Stop feeding the beast. It's killing you. This beast is killing you left, right, and center. They're poisoning you. Chemtrails. They got fluoride and chlorine in the water. You name it. Every manner of trying to kill the meat sticks is there, and they want nothing to do with you. They only want enough people on the planet, drones, as it were. You know, the cloning that just came into play. So I think they've had enough of the spiritual ones, so they're going to just go back to meat stick clones. But that is not going to happen either. So if you're feeding the beast, don't be surprised if it takes a bite out of you. And seriously, it's your own damn fault. Until you wake up and lose the greed, just that which you need. Like, ask a kid at Christmas, and I hate that too. There's another Satan worship ceremony. Oh my God, Satan claws, even the red and white. Do people miss this, Santo, or am I? It's so blatantly obvious. I mean, you know what the whole ritual of Christmas is really about. And it's about the solstice. It's about the sun 3 days risen later, and all the rest of it. It's all there. I mean, they even put that in the Zeitgeist movie and what have you. But they've had to tell us the truth. And the best place to find it, I found, for humor's sake, is Hollywood. Hollywood. Look at holly. The importance of the magical tree holly. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. So obvious. I mean, I sit here and I just shake my head all day, and I go, "Oh my God!"
They are shaking their magic wands, their holy wood, because the wood that they use to cast spells has been blessed with their unholiness. You see, so not only do they bewitch us in the courts, do they bewitch us in the entertainment world with Hollywood, but pharmaceuticals. So, in other words, they've co-opted nature's remedies for healing us, which are herbs, and they know that the only way to heal is with herbs, and yet they continue to patent various chemicals, and they call them Prozac and Drozac and Mozac and whatever, all these whiz-bang names, Even the names are scary. I mean, would you put anything in your mouth that sounded like the word Prozac? For God's sakes, man, that sounds like an alien.
Hey.
People are popping this shit.
Hey, just checking in the chat there. You want to take a call or two? Just to let's check the pulse of the people.
Okay.
I'm done.
How do we?
Just here to find out what people are thinking.
We're gonna need Kat, the other Kat, to help us with that call, aren't we?
Yes.
Is there a caller waiting?
Yeah, Kat, is there a caller waiting? I just saw your note in there.
As far as I am aware, War Dog has added himself or herself. So I'm going to drag them in. I'm wondering they want to call. So drag them in. If they don't have to answer, do they? But War Dog,
no.
I know you're on chat, and we're about to drag you in. So here you come.
Gadumski.
Oh, I love the picture. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Are you talking about these Changing Times radio logo?
That too. It's all great.
I love the logo. It's like a heart.
Yep.
With sun disk of Egypt with wings, golden. It's magic.
Beautiful. War Dog, you there? Hello, War Dog.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, there you are. How are you?
Hey, great, man. I was so glad I ran into you guys, man. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. So are you.
Just to blow me out the door.
It's the idea. We want you free, my friend. There's lots of love out there, and I want my free will choice is to bring along as many friends as are willing on their free will choice. It's just going to be stunningly beautiful.
Yeah, but I still don't understand all the aspects of this thing. I sure really got Santos' message. It just hit me like a rock. Oh, my God.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thanks, War Dog. Great to hear.
Dude, I listen to everything you say. I've been pushing your name on every frickin' blog you can think of, and I sit down with my friends and try to show them all this, and they're like, dude, you're losing it.
Yeah, good.
But it makes sense.
Yeah, the thing about the stuff that Santos and myself and a bunch of others put out that is truth. It at first glance, a lot of people don't see it, and they're like, "Oh, you're crazy," But here's the thing: once they've heard it, it just it stays there and vibrates, and it doesn't go away because truth has that effect.
Yeah.
So, again, and I tell people this too. This is your choice. Don't try to lead horses to water that don't even know they're thirsty, because you'll end up drowning them. So what I tell people to do is just be a light. The moths will come. Be the cookie jar that you will not give out any cookies, and they will come hunting for them. Works a treat. So I mean, and there's no stress, no fuss, no muss, and saves you a whole lot of anxiety. And I choose not to feed that reptilian ego program implant. I prefer love, and that's where I live. Peace, love, truth, and all.
When you see how this paper money, paper bull crap works out, and how the money has been basically demonized and ritualized and using wood and all that, well, I'll tell you what, it's just sick.
Oh, totally it is.
Yeah.
It's black magic at its worst. And anyone that thinks that they're going to solve the system by putting a better paper system in, I don't care what it's made of, it's still illusion. It's still running in their system, and that's how we've been kept in this circular paradigm for countless. I mean, I call this Groundhog Day. How many times have we done this? How many times have we been here to fix this same mistake? And that's why your deja vu comes into play, because you have been here and we have tried to make this work, and it's going to work this time. I know that. I've never felt this way.
Yeah, I'm excited. I just need to learn more about, is it actual sovereignty we're talking about, or are we just talking freedom?
Well, sovereignty, again, is freedom. One must be church state upon oneself. All the answers lie within you. You are your own savior. No one else can save you but you. That's the deal. So don't, and that's why they sold this whole savior thing in their books, that someone's going to come back here and save you. No, you have to save yourself. And look what they've done. They've made everyone put on these little mittens with strings and say, "Oh, don't worry, someone will be here to pick you up." And it's not the way it is, guys. It's in the mirror. Put it in the mirror and you'll see this world for the first time. Put everything you know in the mirror. It will blow your mind. Look what Santos did. Holy shit, is the mirror big enough? He's talking about the entire heavens. I mean, it doesn't get bigger than that. I'm dealing with little mirrors here, okay? I mean, as above, so below. I recommend, again, anyone that hasn't got a copy of the Kabbalion, you can find it online. I think it's 55 pages, Santo. It's a really quick download, and it's a really amazing read.
I have the PDF.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. I'd get
so what do you do?
The emerald tablets too. That's
the emerald tablets of Thoth. Yes, I have that as well. I share that with everyone that comes across and you're actually my contacts now, War Dog, so I can throw that across to you, as well as all the other documents. Oh, and I'm going to give out my Skype. Is that okay? I don't care if it is or not. I'm giving it out. Anyone that wants these documents, you can contact me directly. Santo, back me up. I answer all my emails, and I make contact with everyone that comes anywhere near me.
Yes,
I want those documents so bad.
Okay, they're going to be. I'll wait till the end of the show, so I'm not too distracted here. But I've got you in my contacts, and I'll put you in. I have a chat room in Skype that I'll put you into, and you'll be amidst kindred souls that you have not been with in a very... Santos is in there too, so just so you know. That means you have direct access to everyone. How cool is that? Goodness. There you go.
I love you guys, man.
We love you, and that's why we're doing this.
Okay, so how does this work when you do this? Are you saying that you don't have to have a license in a vehicle or something? Or am I just dreaming?
No, what? Why would you need that? Only the fiction person needs that. I don't carry any ID. I have expired tags on my deregistered car. I travel around freely. I have no mortgage payments. I stopped responding to that back in March of last year. Funny how quiet it is around here. Oh, that's
how do you do that?
They need the puppet, so I don't breathe life back into it by respawning it. You know, spawning salmon up the river, putting life back in the river. If you respond to the name, what have you done? You have responded. Listen to the words.
Well, what about jail? What about getting arrested? All that. I mean, they'll just drag you out and beat the hell out of you.
They can't if you know who you are. No, they can't. And this is the fear that they try to put in. They've done a really good job in the U.S. Really good police state. But here's the thing: even the minions below get their orders. What's the first question any cop will ask anyone? Well, I need to see your ID and I need what's your birth date. That and when they get that, now they own you. It is that simple. But if you resist, then they'll just say you'll be arrested for, you know. Stand your ground. Sign nothing. Say nothing.
Yeah, you're not resisting. By the way, War Dog, you're not resisting. You're in honor. You're in honor. You're sharing with them. You're sharing with them who you are and who you really are. You are not that piece of paper. And if they want an ID, Katie turns around and says to them, "Why can't you see me?
You blind? You can't hear me? You deaf?"
Yeah, I don't want to get into a fist fight with these guys.
No. This is not about that. Here's why I was talking about this earlier. This is all about proactive, preemptive dealings. You deal it up to the guys above. You don't deal with the minions on the street. It's up to them to tell their goons to back off, and they will. They have to. It's called universal honor. I know it's difficult to believe, difficult to swallow, given the police state that has been thrust upon the United States.
Yeah.
I get it. I've been hassled. I've been surrounded. I've been cuffed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we have another caller. I'm just going to call her in now. This is Danica. I think that's how you pronounce it. And we're going to drag you in now. Here you go.
Oh, look, like Denny K.
Sounds like sounds like Danica, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so Danica Flores. Beautiful name.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll just wait till she's there. Okay. Skype's getting a bit overloaded here, but it's all good. So we'll just wait.
Try to learn as much as I can about everything.
The stuff I'm going to give you, I'm working on the Dummy's Guide to Freedom right now, which should be done tonight. As soon as I get off the air, I'm going to get right on it, which will be the step-by-step how to deal this document and where to deal it. And I give out all the information, all the emails, everything.
Yeah, just put it in my email. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty generous, right? Right, Santo?
You are.
Hey, listen, I have no vested interest in truth because it's not mine. It's everyone's. It's not my truth. It's truth. So how can I, I love these guys that have websites that say, well, if you want the rest of the information, it's only $22.95 a month, and you can be part of my. Oh, please, screw off.
What's your opinion of Tim Turner?
Oh, selling the lie, man, selling the lie. No harm to the guy, but he's trying to fix a system within the system. And while he might have been honorable out of the gate, I think he's pretty sold on the God thing. So I really steer clear of religiocosis types.
Yeah, I don't trust anybody who eats flesh and drinks blood.
Hello, Denise.
Yeah.
You're in on the call.
Hi. Oh, okay.
So I'm going to try to learn as much as I can about everything.
Say hello to Denise.
The stuff I'm going to give you, I'm working on the Dummy's Guide to Freedom right now.
Oh, good. I just wanted to say thank you for all of your work, and I'm just happy here at home listening and wanted to call in and say I appreciate everything that you're doing and that I'm trying to study the best I can and try to figure things out a little bit more. I'm very, very new to hearing all of this, so this is kind of almost the first time I've heard it.
Yeah, it probably is because there's not a lot of truth out there, and again, it's been a long road for myself and for Santos and a lot of others that have been working very hard to, and literally fly in the face of everything that the sovereign movement was all about and what have you. So, and I have to say thank you for giving me the purpose to do so. You see, as a servant. As a servant.
Thank you. I'll be listening. Thank you.
No worries. Much love to you.
Okay. Much less. Bye-bye.
Oh, I love sweet people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't got Danica's contact, so I'll just make a point of getting the information. And by the way, Catherine, I will be posting all the documents to you as well, so if anyone is looking for them, they can get them from you as well. If that's okay.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Well. Because you
just jumped off.
Yeah. No worries.
So
but,
Kate, what's your procedure?
Kate,
what's that?
I've just added her details
to
your Skype.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
War Dog, you had a question.
Kate, how do you? Okay, I don't mean to be a pain, but if you're going to drive down the road without a license and without insurance, and you get pulled over, that cop is going to give you a ticket. Now, not arguing with the police officer or anything, he's going to give you the ticket.
War Dog, here is what I told you. I need you to hear this. They don't touch me because I've let their bosses know.
Yeah, how do you do that?
Well, I'm going to show you all that.
Okay.
That's the whole thing. When I send emails out, I send them out to everybody on the same line. And my typical email out to any of the government goons is about, and I say that with the most love. That's just the kind of the word I use, based on the taserings that I see and what have you. But I make sure that, the attorney generals, the local areas, they're all separate corporations. I put them all on notice. Here you go. Here I am. Dare ya. And they tried. I got to tell you, War Dog, until this was fully exposed within, they came at me with a fury. So don't think that this information came light. They don't come near me. They've tailed me. They've pulled me over, cuffed me, but they were very, very careful every time. And what happened was I was constantly, not constantly, there was only I think 3 instances, but I think the lowest number of cars I had around me was 4. One of our guys in town has a record. He had 7. So, and I like that because that way I get an opportunity to educate more of them. And they always leave scratching their head. Like the last time they, even brought the tow truck up, and I thought, no, you're not touching the car. And the car is deregistered anyway. So, and as far as their rules, I don't need their license or their insurance, which insurance means gamble. Okay, to travel. Listen, if something happens, I'll pay for it. But here's the thing about divine providence and divine guidance. Nothing does happen. That one's a tough pill to swallow because when you're as awake at this point where I'm sitting, it's amazing. Like everything is you notice everything in the now. It's a very beautiful. Imagine why people cut themselves because they're not fully awake in what they're doing, or if they, there are no such things as accidents because it's just a lack of awareness on a person's part, where they bumped into somebody or they just made wrong choices up to that point, not thinking, So that's where the ego works. But it's all about preemptive. And people have to lose this script writing thing of, well, if the cop pulls me over, they won't because you tell them ahead of time. And you make them know. And it's very easy. This Denny K ultimatum is the ace. This shuts them down. Because if any cop came near you, and this is the thing, you get their cops, called the provost marshal or any myriad of higher-ups, to arrest them and deal with them. And I let everyone else know. I'm loud and proud here. I've got you might as well put a big banner of, here I am, can you see me? If not, I'll make a bigger banner. You got to get visible, highly visible, period. You cannot hide, because if you're hiding, there is what? Fear.
Mm-hmm.
What do they want you to be in? Fear. Mm-hmm. Lose the fear, get in gear. I mean, stop script writing. Get on the roller coaster, take out the steering wheel, and just kind of level out.
So that advice. Sorry, that advice, Kate. That applies to everything because. Yeah. We've really basically got a year countdown till the end of the 24,000 processional year comes. And there's going to be some big transformations in this solar system. So are we going to have another year of fear? Or are we going to lose the fear, get in the love, because love, the vibration of love is what saves. Fear will lead to destruction. That's all it is good for. Yep. That's all it is good for.
Yep.
So is there any time that they can arrest you?
Nope.
Okay.
They need a name. They need a contract.
They get custody.
I would do that anyway.
If they are your custodians, but you've taken that away from them. They are not the custodians, so they can never take you into custody.
And here's a question for you, War Dog. If you're awake, are you going to be driving intoxicated? No.
No.
Children do that. You know?
Yeah,
so
totally irresponsible.
Totally. You got to be responsible for self. And this is all about being all growed up and everything. This is about taking the mittens and cutting the string. So, anyway, what do we got left here, Sano? 7 minutes. So,
that's right.
What else do you need? I mean, I'm your servant. You just directed where you need me to be and where to go.
What about past incidences or run-ins with people that have had problems with the law and all the money they had to spend for DUIs and so forth? That's all gone, right? That's over with, right?
You have to learn to let go of your chains.
There you go.
Learn this very, very quickly. Okay, you got me. I got screwed. You raped me for a lifetime. In my case, physically at one point. Okay, I'm over it, but you're not going to do it again.
Gotcha.
And that's it. This is about letting go. Forgiveness is paramount. But here's the thing with forgiveness, and I need people to get this. If somebody keeps doing the same thing to you, the forgiveness only lasts for one. Because if you did not learn from that forgiveness that was granted the first time round, the second time you do it, oh well, I'll have them arrested. I can send off emails and I'll let everybody know. Because any entity, legal or otherwise, Crown crosses my path again, where they've all been forgiven in the past once, they only get one. With me, 2 strikes, you're out. Okay? They ever cross my path, and I put them on notice, and I get them picked up under their rules by their cops because I cannot step in their jurisdiction, but they have an honor-bound oath lest they default on universal law. And therein lies the power. You make the evil eat itself. It eats its own tail. With this little bulldozer, they're taking big, giant bites right up to the neck. So I have nothing but peace, and I have no quarrel. I wish well upon all. And I mean that, all. I'm not, well, you know, the Pope is a bad... No. I wish that entity would come to his own forgiveness. Not my
Santos,
choice.
do you actually use astrology for your life? Is that what you do? Is that how we conduct ourselves? Is that how a human being conducts itself, using what they seem to know more about?
Yeah, look, astrology is the one and only true holy science. That's what it is. And people who poo-poo it because it's just a language, you know, they poo-poo it because language, like someone who can't play a musical instrument. They can't because they think they can't. But if I speak Japanese or Italian, I don't have to believe in Japanese or Italian. You know, it's just a language. They're just languages, you see. So it's just a different mode of expression. But the ultimate mode of expression and communication and transference of energy is astrology. When you understand the basic principles of astrology, everything you see around you, you realize is under the influence of astrology. You'll see it. When you meet people, you will see their Aquarian features if they belong to the sign of January Aquarius. You'll see you will see this in the food, for instance. When you eat something bitter, you can rest assured that the bitterness comes from Mars. When you eat something sour, you can rest assured that's Saturn. So, you know, you're tasting things that are affected by the planets, by their vibrations. You are seeing things. Yeah, man, it's all about astrology. And I feel sorry for people who say, oh, do you believe in that? No, I don't believe in it. I know it. It's a language.
So how do you know how to do it? How do you know how to follow that, or not follow, but how do you know how to guide yourself through that? I mean, how do you do it?
Well, start with understanding everything in my videos, because that's why I put them in a simple way so that you can understand the basic principles. You will have a hammer in hand and saw in another hand, and you'll go build your house with it. And that's your spiritual house, you see, because we are carpenters, like Jesus. Why was Jesus called a carpenter? Because that's what a Freemason is. A free mason, not a slave. A Freemason, a mason means to build. And what does a Freemason build? A Freemason, a true Freemason, not these goons getting around, you know, in skull and bones and all these idiot imbeciles, but a true Freemason builds his spiritual house, and that is who you are. Now, guys, we've come to the top of the hour, but I've just asked Catherine if we can do another hour. Would you like to do that?
Oh, I'm in. I just need to go check on my puppies and my kitties.
Okay, you do that, and I'll just continue with this little rant here.
Yeah, I do that because people need to hear this. Because what we do is one single thread, Santo, and it all factors in this beautiful macrame of the universal incredible. I get lost for words every time I talk with you, Santo. Every time. That's why we talk all the time. I love it. Okay, so I'm just going to go check on the, and I'll tag you when I get back, okay?
Hey, Santos?
Yes.
How about a horoscope? You're not talking horoscopes here, are you?
Look, horoscopes, you need to be careful with horoscopes, because some of the people that are, you know, doing these, they're just cutting and pasting from, you know, from books and from, you know, other websites and other people's thoughts and opinions about astrology. They don't understand the science of it, you know. They really don't understand the basic natural principles that underpin it. And that's what I explain in the videos, you see. It all comes from nature. It has to. If it is not and founded on natural principles, it's hocus pocus. And so the horoscope, I mean, you can do that yourself, you know. You can know what your day is going to bring because you create your day. You know, you are the creator of it. But when you understand the, you know, you can pull up the chart in the morning to see where all the planets are and everything like that. Once you take a quick glance at where they are, where the moon is, whether it's waxing, whether it's waning, you know, whether the sun's near a cusp or whether there are any planets that are retrograding and where it is that they're retrograding. Once you have a quick glance of the of that in the morning, you pretty much know where the day's going to go. You can feel it. You know, you're in tune with it now. Your antennas are stretched out and receiving the full signals. You know, you're not gropiness, as the Bible says, looking through a glass darkly. You are now seeing clearly. So you are a clairvoyant, you see. These people who channel information, well, one needs to beware and very wary of these people because unless they're channeling very, very high order beings, they're doing something that's very, very dangerous. A clairvoyant separates himself from these types of people because a clairvoyant has a head and a heart full of true knowledge, and he has direct knowledge, so he sees and knows all things without having to channel his body to other entities. And some of these entities, man, they're not very they might do things, yeah, but inside in their saying many truthful things, they insert certain lies and certain spells, and they insert certain untruths to mislead the many. You know.
So how does this dark satellite? What was that? You called it the animal satellite or something?
Yeah. And this is a great question because a lot of people are not aware of the source of what we call evil. You see, on this plane there is good and evil because it's duality, and until we get into unity consciousness, where good and evil does not preside, we will always be dealing in good and evil. Now, when it comes to this subject of evil, which means willfully doing things that go contrary to the balance of the Earth is a person like we are, and it has 7 chakras like we do. And one of those chakras is the animal portion of the world, the Earth that we live in. And that chakra is called, in occult science, the dark satellite. Now, the dark satellite is always at perihelion, which means perigee, in the Dark Ages, in the Iron Ages, you see, and also in the portion of the Bronze Age. But in the Golden and Silver Age, it is not perceived. You cannot perceive its influence because it's at apohelion or apogee. Therefore, it's receded. It's sort of the central portion of the Earth. But in the last 2,000 years, it has been at perigee and perihelion rather. And but in 1881, it commenced receding. It started receding away from the Earth, you see. So things are getting better, and they will get better exponentially when this dark satellite will not be felt in the very near future. So what you're seeing with the elites and their control system and the police state that they want to implement in this fear-ridden world, that's just the bread and circus and all the shit that's happening out there. This is not to concern you. You should not even turn on the TV to hear what they announce, you know, and all their lies. We should be and the worldly entanglements. And but what you're seeing with this is that the dark forces of the dark satellite are trying to prolong their existence because they know that they are receding and losing grip on this Earth, their grip, and that they are having difficulty sending forth souls from the dark satellite to incarnate here anymore. So once you see these evil people dying off and perishing, which they will, no more will incarnate on this Earth from the dark satellite. And so they are just trying to prolong their existence. But the writing's on the wall. Their time is up. It's all over for the fiction. We can blow it away with our co-creating.
It's done.
It's done. The powers that were are the powers that were.
Yeah, the old paradigm is gone, and we're making room for the new now. And it's our co-creation, the efforts of, you know, everyone that's listening, everyone that is making a difference in this world. We are the co-creators of our own reality. And the saying is so true, change your mind, change the universe, because you are the center of your own universe. And you will be the solar system unto yourself, and you will decide how you will be in this galaxy of the multiverse. No one else, just you. That's why you're your own savior. You are the only one that can make the free will choice consent as part of that one spark of the all spark to change and be the change you want to see. Again, everyone's looking for answers outside. The answers are in. You're not going to change the world outside until you change inside. That's it.
So you believe in God?
Source creator, yes. I think she's wonderful.
Female or male? I don't know. Both male.
Well, again, the law of balance. In the truest sense of balance, there can never be full balance because it would be static. Then there would be no motion. So there has to be a slight play to one side, and it's about keeping it, you know, in that range, you know, above and below the zero. And what happened was the masculine intention far overwhelmed the feminine creative. Masculine is the electrical intention that is put forth into the void of creation, which is the feminine magnetism. Santo does a great job of explaining how that interacts with words are losing me today. I think it's been, this will be a 5-hour marathon on air. The solids, Santo, what's the term? Platonic solids, yes. Yeah.
Sacred geometry.
Yeah, and I mean, you can go back to Kircher's work and so many others that have, I mean, everything that we are speaking of is already there, and all we're doing is I'm playing my role as the son and the daughter equally to shine light on the dots to connect them. And I'm, as I said to Santo earlier, I'm an archivist. I just take all the information from my experience and codify it. And basically, I'm like this little librarian sitting here, putting all these wonderful puzzle pieces together into the big picture. And we all co-create. We are all making that difference. And I said it earlier, if you don't think you can change the world, think again, because how dare you not think you can, because you're part of this creation.
Yeah, it's amazing. When I learned about how the planets and all that worked, how Santos explained it on his videos, I was just like, oh my God, that's it. That makes sense.
Yeah, and War Dog, just a note, going back to the God question, there's when you're talking about God, I've already explained that there's Prime Source, the unknown one, and then there's the Demiurge, the second creator, the Elohim. So they are solar systems, basically. Okay, so there's your two gods, right? But apart from that, remember that there's the theist God and the deist God. Now the deists are the Hermetists, the scientists, the ones that deal in God and deal in nature and science, not the hocus pocus theists, the theocracies, the theocratic types. That's what's in your churches. God is a theocratic God, brothers, and when I was Jehovah's Witness, they used to push the theocracy concept, you see. We do not participate in democracies, we Jehovah's Witnesses. We are waiting for God's theocracy to implement itself on this earth and bring back the paradise. No, no, no. These are fictions. Theocratic. It's the theocratic religions that have destroyed the earth, plundered its wealth, raped it, enslaved mankind, and taught this concept of third-party vicarious salvation. There ain't none. There will never be a third-party saviour. They invented it. They created this third-party debt-collecting system based on a historical Jesus for the purpose of enslaving the world. Once we lose this myth, and we will, and my videos have debunked Christianity's historical lie, absolutely, I can take my videos to any court in the universe and I will win the case. Case closed.
Hands down.
Yeah, there will never be a theist that will be able to debunk any of my videos, because the evidence, all I've done, evidence in there. There is none of my opinion in there. I don't have opinions that I preach. I'm teaching direct knowledge. It's science. Anyone can work it out. It's plain and simple. It's pure science, and I have given proofs there that they are videos that are full of evidence, and the evidence is incriminating evidence, and it incriminates the theocratics, the theocratic types, because they work on the principle of hierarchy, patriarchy, and this universal authority type system. It's a pyramid scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme. That's all it is. And the sooner we lose it, this third party, the IRS and the CRA and the all of these third party,
the alphabet gangs.
Yeah, gangs.
All the alphabets. Yeah.
Crimes.
Oh, and I do want to add this. I have an absolute blast dealing up the stuff that I deal up to these guys, knowing that I'm either awakening those within, and I have done that with many, or I am making those within panic and run for the hills, and they do that too. So, and I get to see the how do you put it? I just read something and it threw me off. Actually, what was I saying? The resonate. When you resonate with things, the re-sun infinity, re-sun-ate. Again, listening to the words. So when you resonate with things, re-sun-ate with things, that means you are becoming again the star that you always were and always are and always will be. In the now. There is only now. No past, present, future. Only now. And when do you want to change the world? Right now. So,
yeah, I love how they just twisted all the words around on us.
Oh, by design, and it was over 6 centuries.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was part of my quest, being the English lit major and history major that I thought I was. And boy, I'm very grateful for my teachings that I got in Ireland from the teachers I had. That gave me some beautiful insights in how to break back things in terms of math, like breaking back formulas to show, as soon as we could show how the formula worked and why, then we could use it. So it was beautiful lessons in deconstructing things, and also with quantum English, learning how to use it in the now and how to make things happen in the now. It's everything that I've done in my life, everything that occurred, everything that was experiential for me was for an absolute perfect reason. And that's why I ask people to look in their own lives to see what the common thread is and what resonates with them as to their purpose in the service to all. Because when you are in service to all, are you not serving self?
Mm-hmm.
Are you not part of the all? Of course you are. So it's all for one and one for all. I mean, even Alexander Dumas got that right. Problem was he put it in the form of 3 musketeers, but isn't that a neat holy trinity there? And it's always about the trines, the trinities. Santos, I gotta tell you, it's what a ride.
Yeah.
I got great seats.
Yeah.
And
we got the best seats in the house because we too are learning. We too are expanding our consciousness as days. So
yeah, how do you live through this? How do you work? Everybody's used to getting a job, getting paid, going to work, and but you're not doing that.
No, it's called baby steps, and I had a lot of stuff put in place prior to my throwing in everything in the ante. Every aspect of my existence. I'm very successful general contracting. I'm a master carpenter by trade. Go figure, eh? Pilot, diver, musician, singer, songwriter. I've lived. But everything factored into it. Baby steps. You take one thing on at a time, that which you know you can conquer immediately. Because until we conquer those small things, the fear is rampant. And yeah, if you try to figure out how you're going to exist and survive all at once, welcome to your overwhelm. And I would highly recommend that you stop listening to the ego that needs pure survival only. And
that's what it feels like.
Yeah, it is scary. I had spent a couple of decades as a silver gold dealer part-time. I did it for fun as a hobby, and it collected a lot of silver over the years, and that's what I've survived on. The universe set me up for this. I had everything I needed when I started, although I didn't know it.
Yeah, I had a bad accident a couple of years ago with my back, and I couldn't work for 2.5 years, and now I can work, and everything's gone.
Well, again, there's nothing wrong with working. And once you know who you are and you're acting in honor, this is the thing. Now you can step in and out of the system at will because you've let others know that the fraud was there, and you're only doing it out of necessity now. But I still don't carry any ID because I don't need to. I know who I am.
What about filling out 1099s and all that?
Oh, please.
No,
I've whipped CRA's ass and IRS.
What if your boss wants you to fill out a W-2, or you just say no, and
No, why would you pick a quarrel? If your boss wants to fill that out, again, if you're going to be an employee, the corporation that you're going to work for, or company that is registered, has an obligation to their masters called the Crown to pay your slave tax, which is the income tax. And again, income tax is not money that people pay. You know, I've asked people this many times. How much did you pay in tax last year as an employee? And they said, well, I paid $5,000. I said, no, you didn't. Your employer did. It's just money you didn't get. So again, we make our sacrifices and we make our existence as we need to. But the most important thing is you take it step by step, and the answers will present. But you have to be in the know thyself frame of mind for the universe to be able to connect with you. Source will connect with you, is connected to you. You just have to see it. And that is a leap of faith. That is having the absolute trust in self.
That's where synchronicity comes in. I'm trying to learn that too, but I'll tell you, I just, you know, I ran out of money, ran out of everything, and I nothing really was provided. I had to end up on food stamps.
Well, I got to tell you, in the last 2 years, I'm between 120 and 150,000 of my own money into this game. I have helped more people gain more money in terms of money saved and actual money gained through settlements and what have you back in the early days into the millions. For two of them to turn around and in the case of these two individuals, I use them as an example. It's let go. It's their karma. It's their whatever. It's their free will choice to do what they do. I could care less. The point was, between the two of them, it was well over $1 million net gain, literally. And one paid me $50 as a donation. And the other one paid me a turkey. That told me everything I needed to know about the ego. So, and that was the universe saying, look at you turkey. So I said, okay, well, I got to stop doing this. All I'm doing is feeding their ego by feeding them more of their illusional debt. And of course, that was the universe slapping me upside the head saying, smarten up and stop doing that. So I did. The whole thing here is,
if we got away from paper money, how would you present person just barter?
Well, why not? I mean, here's where we have a lot of faith, and it happened back in 2003. Do you remember the North American blackout?
Right.
Okay, there was 4 days. My house was in the grid. That was the last grid turned on in North America during that blackout. All things for a reason. And what I did was, none of the bank machines were accessible, stores were closed, and of course the freezers were all no power unless you had a generator and what have you. I got to meet all my neighbors. I got to see the stars like I used to see up north when I'd go diving in the Great Lakes and what have you. And I got to meet her, and it was the most beautiful, peaceful time. And that was a test of the system to see how the people would react in a time of crisis. And it blew up in their faces because everyone pulled together. If you're hungry, my door is open. I have food for you. If you're cold, I have heat for you. This is service to others, and this is how we all have to be. Because once we do that, then we get back to the natural way, the native way of helping each other. Now imagine if the slate got cleaned right now, where everything was wiped out of existence. Could you build on what you already have? Of course you can. It's this whole consumer mentality that we have to go out and buy these silly little Chinese trinkets that are made that bust a week later, that we have to go with the flat screen TV. We have to buy into their media bullshit, their Lady Gagas, their Britney Spears, and their Justin Biebers to keep you all so distracted. Look at the news. Look at CNN. Bunch of lying bastards. They're bought and paid for. Look who owns them. They're selling you on the illusion. And I guarantee you, most of the people listening right now don't watch TV. I don't. On occasion I do, just for a laugh, to see, how much illusion they're selling. And some of the people that are presenting actually believe the shit they're pushing. This is the funny thing, and it's sad. Yeah. So this is about deciding, can you help your neighbor? Of course you can. And War Dog, I will tell you this, if you are hungry on the street, I have a bed here for you, and I have food in my fridge and my cupboards for you as well, of which I will share freely, because in the end, we only have each other. So once we get that back, there is no need for wars. There are no need for guns. There's no need for anything except each other. And it's beautiful.
I lost two sons.
There you go. Oh, please. You just broke my heart. And for what? And for what? And that's the thing too. I grew up in Belfast, and when you speak of things like that, I've seen it myself, up close and personal. And I have to say, people in North America that have never been exposed to it on their own streets are living in
it all started off patriotic, like, years ago, but then you learn all this, and then you're like, oh, you sons of a bitches.
Yeah, well, all things for a reason, and this is where the letting go occurs with self. And then once you get into a letting go position, now you have power. Now you have intention of the purest kind, and now you're a world shaker. I know I've changed the world numerous times, so has Santos. So have many people I know. The Dean Cliffords and Hollywood, Mark Simpsons and Andrew Pattersons and Knockout in Germany, the Wonder Kid I call him now. So many, I can go the list. Mary Elizabeth Croft. The list is long, and it is upon the shoulders of giants that I stand, that you may stand on my shoulders. Please do. I'm here as your servant. I can't bow any lower to you. That's all. That is my role. I am of service to all. That was my deal, my free will choice, and I stand in it at all costs.
And you're just understanding the universal laws that were already there. They were there. Okay. They've always been there. And this is what it means when the Bible says, in the Bible it says, my people are perishing for lack of knowledge. And because they have left the law of God. It's not talking about theocratic, God with a beard sitting on a throne that that theist one. It's the deist God. It's the one that we are. You see, and because we've left this universal law, because we've been caught in the fiction, in the third party. You see, everything in their system works as a trinity, as Kate said before. Why would that be? Well, because if they can, separate the unity, not only by dividing it in a duality, they bring a third party in. Well, who would that be? Well, you need to believe in Jesus if you want to be saved. Oh, okay, so you need a third party saviour, do you? Yes, and you need to pay taxes. To who? Well, there's this third party guy out there, and he's called the tax collector, for goodness sakes. Didn't you know about him? He's a third party dude that you've just got to work for. There's the unholy trinity.
Yeah, you know something? It's funny. Only Santos can say Jesus the way he does. You make me giggle every time. I love it.
So, Santos, so what you're saying is that what you're teaching and what I'm learning on your sites, and is that the Bible's telling you the truth, but it's not about what?
Right. Well, the Bible is speaking allegorical truth. You see,
okay.
Because allegory is something that a conscious human being can grasp. An unconscious human being, which in Hermetic wisdom is called a human beast, and that's what you see out there, the herd. That's why they call it the herd. Parmenides, Plato, Pythagoras called them the herd. Not because they were looking down at people and judging them, but it's because it is a herd. There are unconscious human beasts walking around in human bodies, but they are animals. They truly are animals. They are intelligent. Man, they can do lots of things with computers. They can work in the factory. They're very intelligent, you see. And some of them get to be prime ministers and like George Bush. But as far as evolution, spiritual evolution goes, they are still animals. They're unconscious. You see, and as we grow in consciousness, we then see what else is hiding in those beautiful words. But when you're unconscious and you go to church because a third-party priest has to tell you what to believe and what to think and how to think, then you've defaulted on your own responsibility. You've given it over to a salesman, to a priest, which you were warned not to do. When you go into the land of Canaan, do not their gods and their idols. What that's saying is when you go into incarnation, don't forget who you are. You have come from the heavens. You do not need a priest who is dressed in a clown suit to teach you out of his books, his filth, and his dogma and his doctrine to enslave you. You are a priest unto yourself. You've never bequeathed, you've never let go of that onerous responsibility, but it's yours, it always will be. There will never be a guy that says, oh, here I am, Jesus is my name, I'm your third-party saviour. Did you believe in me, despite being an abusive, thieving criminal? Well, you believed. There you go, there's your free ticket through the pearly gates. It's not going to happen unless we save ourselves, and that's how we do it, with consciousness. And that's how we save the scriptures. We save them from their literal interpretation. They are dragging the scriptures, who run around preaching the Bible thinking they understand it. They're dragging it through the mud and miring its beautiful pages because they do not understand that their religion, what they call religion, comes from the stars. Everything in there is about astrology, astronomy, astrotheology. It's all about the stars. The greatest storybook is in the skies. There is Hercules, there is Perseus, Cephas, Bootes, all the heroes, Orion, holding up the Milky Way in the southern hemisphere of the Milky Way. There they are, Ophiuchus, standing with his foot at the crossing of the Milky Way galactic plane and the ecliptic. Right on cue, Ophiuchus, the 13th sign. You know, there are all the stories. Humpty Dumpty, Little Red Riding Hood, Aladdin, Aladdin.
How did they figure this out? How did they figure this out?
They're all up there.
They've had centuries to do this. That's another show. It gets into the really heavy spiritual realms. Most importantly, we just need people to figure out who they are right now, and the rest will reveal itself as it has for us. But we'll get into that, I'm sure. I'll be talking about that more on my own shows and any other shows I get invited on. It's getting to the point where people need it. Sorry, Santa, go ahead.
I've got Dave from Sydney, my friend Dave Holberton. You've met recently Kate from our American Freedom Radio show, who wants to hop on. Can I just drag I think I can just drag the name.
Just drag her
beautiful.
Into the pictures.
Thank you. I'll do that because Dave's got some good questions. Good friend of mine and a flamenco guitarist, the like of which, man, this guy runs rings around my guitar work. David Holberton, even though he's a gringo, he plays like a... Don't you, Dave? Have we got him yet?
I don't see him.
Oh, he'll be on soon anyway. I'll drag him in.
I'm just adding him, but if you want to get his name next to you and just drag it where these pictures are, drag him into this call.
I have him here if you want me to grab him, Santa.
Oh, we'll wait for Cat, I think.
Okay.
Just got to wait for him.
And yeah, and Dave's also learning about law and how it all works, and so he's making leaps and bounds. I remember a couple of years ago when Dave started, and now his knowledge is very, very vast, and he's doing well. So it's going to be great when we...
Well, he's got the ace of aces now, and spent a little bit of time trying to go over things with him, and he's finally clicked on the penny dropping of there is no remedy in legal. He just became a very, very dangerous angel, and I love dangerous angels. We rock. we have fun. Promise. Oh yeah. Okay, actually, he just tagged me. Would love to call in. So, did anybody grab him to pull him over into the?
No.
No. Okay.
Until he accepts.
Okay.
So, Kate, if you could just
I've got him. I've got him.
Thank you.
No worries, David. Here you come. I'm just going to pull you back up here because you tagged me there. Oh, you're already there. Okay. So let's. Okay, it doesn't look like it's ringing, so... Oh,
he fell off.
He fell off.
No,
Here, let me
he's
try
on.
from this side.
He's on, definitely, because his
Oh, because his picture just dropped out of my screen, so... David, if you're listening, just quickly tag me again, and just want to make sure that you got your mic hooked up and you're ready to go. And then we'll pull you in, and we'll have some fun. Yeah.
If you can accept the invite from TCT Calls, Dave, and then I can drag you in.
Oh, that's probably why, because you made the call. Gotta love Skype. The options, oh my goodness. And hi to Billy in Turkey. Yes, just added you to my, and sing badly too. Just added you to the Skype room. Katie Renee Thompson, Katie.Renee.Thompson is my Skype, KATIE.RENEE.THOMPSON. And the email is katierenee@live.ca, KATIERENE@live.ca. Only one E on Renee in the email. So don't say I didn't give the information out.
Hey guys, how you going?
Hey, there he is. Cross
Hey. What a great
Hi, Dave.
Hey.
Yeah, his picture just dropped out of my screen, so... David, if you're listening, just quickly tag me again, and I just want to make sure that your mic hooks up. You got to turn your radio off, David.
Okay, let me do that now.
Yeah. Yeah, good idea.
Yeah. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, well, you're not going to hear me repeat myself like I'm doing right now.
Yeah, you guys are doing a great show. It's been awesome. And, just wanted to drop in and say good day to everyone out there, and just a big hello to basically everybody around the world that's waking up. And
isn't it great?
It's just fantastic. It's just amazing. I just feel like my family just got so much bigger.
Just got huge. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I just been thinking something else that I've woken up to in the theme of as above, so below, laws and slavery. Has anyone else come to the conclusion in the domestication of animals that we keep animals for lavishing our affection on, but seldom consider what it is that the animal actually needs? For example, many people keep domesticated animals and project onto them a mode of behaviour, laws, without also reflecting what is the nature of the animal and how has its existence biologically evolved to function independently, outside of a superficial dependence that we can sometimes slave them to. So I think about this because in the principle of permaculture, animal husbandry through our ingenuity and development through the centuries essentially guides the animal's power and energy to make our existence easier. So the animal doesn't become a human slave. We can design an environment for the animal that allows the animal to perform its natural functions, but by proxy, those functions are designed to improve our lives and also improve the earth. So, a very simple equation that shows whether or not the animal is a slave is to, I've found is to pay close attention to the amount of energy that it takes to keep an animal functioning in the environment we've created for it. So I find that if we're bringing in excess energy into the equation, then the animal is reciprocating back into the environment. Then the animal is basically a slave because we've removed components of its environment that it would normally be able to do for itself, yeah? So if the environment is designed to provide for the animal where excess energy is not continually being carried into the equation from the outside, then the relationship is mutual and is an essential definition, I guess, of sustainability. So while we live in a system that has us enslaved, or as above, it is easy to reciprocate that paradigm upon animals in our own environment without further thought for what the animal needs, so below. Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so once we're free, I reckon, permaculture is an obvious education to teach us how to function in harmony and equal respect with our total environment, not just the human species, but all our little animal friends.
Yeah, the thing with animals, Dave, is that some are wild and some are domesticatable animals, you know, so we can we can get close with those animals and everything like that, there is a benefit for the animals. Of course, animals are never to be abused or killed. This is the law of the universe. And we are supposed to be good instructors to the animals that are domesticated, you see, because they are coming near to humans, because they will eventually receive an incarnation as a human being. They have to reach the middle kingdom. You see, the middle kingdom is the human being in evolution back to source. So when we treat our dogs with love and care and affection, and they come to us for affection, you know, my dog is just a beautiful little angelic creature that just loves affection, just absolutely loves affection. And we are actually teaching them some human skills, because they are longing for this. They love to look up at us, and they delight and wonder and think, you know, and realize in their souls that they one day are going to have this beautiful consciousness that we have. And our consciousness is called Christ consciousness. They don't have it, you see. But they are longing for this. They are always reaching up higher for this consciousness, and eventually they will receive it. But this is the good thing about having domesticated animals, along with it in that sense. But if we do not break the chain of, there are ignorant people out there that abuse animals. You see, they keep them in their homes, and it's horrendous, some of the animal cruelty that's going on. But that's perpetrated on animals by unconscious human beings, because they are animals themselves, you see, and they're perpetuating the slavery that is passed down from Rome, you see, so they haven't sort of cut the link.
Well, I'm still trying to get rid of my ignorance, and you guys are doing a great job of helping me with that. This is awesome.
As you are helping me and everyone, we all help each other. That's the game, right?
Yeah, yep.
So.
But yeah, it's good to look at all that Christ consciousness, and I also find that that if I kind of wonder sometimes, you know, what is it we're actually doing to the animal, or what are we teaching it if we're keeping other industries alive, you know, that we then require if you know, if we have to bring excess things from outside that animal's environment into it, you know, are we really doing that animal a favour? And would it have evolved if that industry wasn't there to make it possible for us to do that? Yeah, interesting question.
But it is, Dave, because we are becoming aware of you see, you hear of animal rights, right? You know, the animal rights movement. And, they're going around, you know, into the places where animals are cooped up. I mean, Kentucky, just to keep Kentucky Fried Chicken going as a business concern, how many chickens are suffering for that particular one company? How many chickens are cooped up in those little cages? They cannot even turn south if they're facing north. Little
death cells.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I get free range eggs only. You know, it's we have friends with within the farming community, so we keep everything very close to home. Which is where we're headed. If we can't depend on our neighbors, we can't depend on ourselves, and we have to be the same for them as we expect, right? Do unto others, golden rule. They call it the golden rule for a reason. So I have to ask David while he's on the call here. So how'd you like my email answer for you?
It was great. It was awesome, and I did respond to it. And I got it. What I'm finding is, as I'm continually growing in my understanding, you know, I'm actually becoming more aware of the ego that's actually trying to bring that fear back in, and it's all unconscious programming. And on a conscious level, I'm aware of it and I can actually address it, but unconsciously, I'm noticing it come in. And just like a meditation, as you sit there and you try and, you know, blank your mind, thoughts do come in and they're unconscious. But it's not to get upset about your meditation technique. You notice it, you acknowledge it, and you let it go. and you get better and better and better, I guess. So as you said, baby steps, and I'm and I'll say this to anyone, I'm very happy to make an example of certainly the experiences that I'm going through, if because I know that there's a lot of people out there that are probably looking at this sort of stuff, and it sounds fantastic, and it is, and in the bottom of your heart, because the truth is just undeniable. But there's that uncertainty, because we've been so conditioned and so dumbed down in our slavery that that our first question in uncreativity is, what do we do? Because we haven't actually taught ourselves, and we've been made so dependent that that we kind of really need to sit down now and go, okay, how does this work? So I'm actually kind of it was really interesting. I sat down with my wife last night, and basically just explained in very, very, very short terms exactly what's going on. So one of the reasons for doing that is to kind of affirm my understanding, and it just makes so much sense. And one thing Einstein said, which I love, is that systems should be as simple as they can, and no simpler. But if you have to complicate things, if you have to dress things up in all sorts of glitter, then there's bullshit going on there, because it just essentially you're making something that's unattainable, or that people can't get access to. They have to go through this forcing a round peg through a square hole. Yeah. My 4-year-old just eating an apple, and he wants me to cut it up for him, and isn't it beautiful? He just bought me 4 eggs from the backyard, didn't you, Nate?
That's awesome.
Yeah, we got
oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, we got 10 animals in the backyard. We've got 6 chooks, and we've got 4 ducks, and we've got a quarter-acre block. It's probably about 40 meters long on the front side of the house, and maybe about 50 meters, or not quite 50 meters deep. So we've got a nice little decent-sized backyard, and we're just going to turn that thing into a sustainable ship. It's gonna feed at least probably 10 houses of radius around ours. Yeah. So and that's just all in the intention of bringing our neighbours and our community together. It's about not contracting with the with big agriculture, and and basically maintaining a much more sustainable footprint on the earth. And while doing that, learning about the law and becoming free, and also freeing the community. It's all starting to happen, and I think there's a lot of people around the world that are doing all these sort of things in their respective ideas, and in whatever capacity is available to them, and it's really good to see.
No, it's awesome. And one of the things I like to clarify, and you brought up a very important point with simplicity. Right out of the gate in the show, this one and the one I do on TNS every Thursday, this is so simple, people are going to have a hard time grasping it, because the truth always had to be simple. The answer had to be simple, and we had to look for the one thing that, the one ring that ruled us all. Now that we found it, it's the one rule to ring them all. So it's the goose and gander. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Shotgun clause. I just invoke it, and get used to the idea of not being hassled, or not being arrested, and not being pulled over, because there were others that walked ahead of you to make it clear that once you understand and know who you are, act in honor, and take the truths that we have revealed, and they have to resonate with you. Don't take my word for it. My experience is mine. All I can do is assure you that every word that I have uttered is pure truth of my experience. You can go see your own movie and prove it for yourself, because it just works. I've helped too many people, and the ones that could stand and use the articles and documents that I have put together always won, always prevailed. And like I said, I'm batting 1,000 here, and that's not bragging. That's just proving that truth, if people are willing to stand in it, does work. It's that simple.
Well, I'm certainly not intending on going to court or doing anything or seeking remedy in their situation. It just makes sense. There is no remedy in their situation. What some people might be wondering out there, though, because I'm now armed with this amazing and beautiful tool, the Denique. Another egg, Nate. Wow, well done.
Put them on the air.
Man, these chickens are shitting eggs all over the place. It's fantastic.
I love it.
I'm going to start giving them away. So some people might be wondering, we're now armed with this incredibly powerful and beautiful tool that you've developed, Katie, and it's just incredible. And so I've got this in one hand, and I'm doing all sorts of other things in the other hand. I'm looking at my birth certificate. I've been dragging it out the last few nights and, just checking out all the things and just looking a bit deeper into it. And I'm just wondering, so the Denique, what do we do with that? Do we send that into a particular office? What do we send it with? And do we sign the Denique? Do we just leave it?
Okay. I'm going to answer all your questions before you ask them, because I'm in the middle of writing the Dummy's Guide to Freedom, which will give you the play-by-play, step-by-step. Again, I'm asking people that are playing chess not to take the queen and try to jump the pawn right now. Lose the fast food drive-through mentality of I need it now. This is about taking the time to breathe, to go within, and to let those documents that I've shared with people resonate, okay? Because here's the truth. If they resonate with you completely, you won't even need to ask me that question. But I'm going to put it together for everyone anyway. So it's about a little patience. As soon as I get off the air tonight, it's been a 5-hour marathon at this point, I think. As soon as I get off the air, I will be finishing off the Dummy's Guide. And I will use David as an example. The email I wrote you back, it wasn't a short one, was it?
No, not at all. It was a beautiful response.
I spent time with all my responses. Now you know why my clock gets chewed up so much and why I need to get this done. So I'm asking anyone that has already received these documents to hold off for 24 hours, and it's a very simple process. Santos already done it. He's walked ahead. He put into action that which I did in the court back in September of 2010. It's in a written form. It's giving it back. The joy of that video is I gave back their apostilled birth certificate in court, so it's right in their jurisdiction. Something else I wanted to ask you, you mentioned about your birth certificate, David. Did you happen to notice anywhere on it that it said not to be used for identification purposes?
No, and that's why I went to look for it. It's my birth certificate was issued in the 70s, and it's a very old-looking typewritten document. I've got the form there to actually fill out and send off to get another original back. And that will...
Mine was done in the 60s, 1964, and mine was actually handwritten. So it had right on the bottom of it. So I think for some reason or other, because it's an old bird, they probably removed the notice on it because it was a dead giveaway, right? So again, all things for a reason. But I assure everyone out there listening, that was the most glaring thing on that document. It was only the front side, not the back. But on the front it said, with a little asterisk, not to be used for identification purposes. And that is, if it's on one, it's none of the laws change. They go all the way back, and this is where you have to learn to invoke these things and understand who you are. So I was just curious to see when they started changing that, as far as removing it so it was hidden. But hey, it was revealed on mine, and there you go. Cool. Nice being an old bitch, I tell you. Came in handy.
Beautiful. Yeah, so I'm ready to go. I'm ready to cut the strings.
Okay, I will be posting everyone that's been contacting me via Skype. It's been an ongoing thing today of adding people to the Angels with Wings Love and Stuff room, as it was named by Isaac. And again, I have to say thank you to Isaac for gifting me with the computer after my other computer crashed a couple of months ago with a brand new setup. With this brand new setup, it created the Denique. So look at that, eh? All things for a reason. I love this. Such a perfect world.
Yeah. And Kate, I'm just going to take this opportunity now to invite you back next week. How would you like that? Because I think there's a lot to talk about and thrash out here.
Oh, anytime, Santo. You know, I'm your servant, so just call and I'm here. You know that. I've always been here when you need me. Funny that, eh? Universe kind of just knows you need to be sitting right here like 12 hours a day or more.
Great.
Like, this is all I do, guys.
Who have enjoyed, for the listeners who have enjoyed today's show, we'll have Kate back next week. And bring out your questions, please. Because either this is the one to trump them all, or it's not. And we're saying that it is, and it works. Here's how it works. And it's a way forward. We're looking for a way forward. You know, there are obviously a lot of problems with their system, which is crashing. Therefore, we need a way forward. Of course we do. We are awakening. There's more consciousness around us on every level. And we're going to inherit the fruits of our co-creating. So we're going to want to be co-creating on a high plane.
Well, I'm there. When people need me, universe sends them as they need. So that's all I'm asking people is allow me the free will choice to fulfill my purpose to help. That's all. And that's your free will choice to ask. So I cannot go any further than that because then I'd be trespassing, breaking universal law, and that's a nay-nay. Can't do it. Sorry.
Yeah, welcome home. Welcome home, universal law. You're welcome to inhabit the earth once again. And, of course, Plato called this process of awakening anamnesis because, as I read at the start of the show, Scipio's Dream, where it talks about some that have drank more of that intoxicating cup, the bowl of Bacchus, in the sign of Cancer and Leo. And as they descend, they drink more of that cup. You see, that's why there are opinions about God, because when you forget God, of course, you're going to have a head full you don't directly know. So, but he also said that some would drink less of that cup, and then they would restore their memory of what they knew before. And that's what we're doing. We're not learning. We are remembering what we have already known, and we have already known that we are sovereign, or that we are free, and that we are God. So we're just restoring our memory, and in doing so, universal law is also re-established as a consequence.
Perfect. Couldn't say it better. Again, we teach nothing. We just remind you. As we are reminded, we are reminding others, and you'll know it's truth because it sits with you and it resonates, and truth is the resonance of the highest frequencies. So welcome to that high-pitched, wonderful sound that is you. Beautiful, isn't it? Ah, what a song. I got to write something tonight. I haven't written in ages. Oh, wait a minute. I got to do the Dummy's Guide first. I'll do that, and then I'll write a song.
And truth and love are just light. It's all light.
Yep.
So, as you said, Kate, if it doesn't resonate, well, it's got to go. And if it resonates, and when you read the Deneke, I mean, as I said before, there's no leaks in this document. You know, this is a document that is a lawful document. But even in legalese, mate, those legalese buffoons with their PhDs and their law, you know, degrees and their associations with bar guilds, they won't be able to dislodge not a word out of this document. This is here to stay. Hallelujah. And with that in mind, guys, if you'd like to just finish up, anyone got some finishing comments? We've got about 4 minutes countdown, and then we'll see you next week. But anyone for a final comment?
I'm good. I've been talking for hours, so somebody else can seal the show off, and I'm good with that.
Okay, Dave, what's your words of encouragement? War Dog, anything?
Nothing. No.
Sorry.
Well, I've got to say that if anyone's wondering what to do in the world once you're free, I mean, the solutions are all out there. The internet is just teeming with information about how to be self-sufficient, how to be sustainable, how to be communal, how to do all the things that our traditional education doesn't make obvious and available. I've got tons of ideas and tons of information, and anybody out there that's that's looking for some ideas, feel free to get in contact with me or through Santos and Katie, because I just absolutely love this, and this is the experience I've been living up to this point. The Deneke and understanding law is another capacity that I'm becoming free in, but also along the way getting to that. The last couple of years has just been full-on research for me about how to take human culture and move it forward in a way that's going to suit everyone.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, Dave, join us next week and share a bit with us about permaculture. How'd you like to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be here on Thursday. Oh, actually, I'm going to be at work, unfortunately. I'm still a slave, but not for much longer.
Friday.
Yeah, someone's quit work and they want me to come in, and because I'm a helpful person, I said I'd do it. No.
Yeah, but you realise it's Friday though, not Thursday.
Yeah. Sorry for that. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Thursday and Friday
Thursday and Friday. Sorry. Okay. All right. I missed that. All right, Dave. Well, look, in the near future then, eh? And because I know you've gone down to Tasmania with Jim.
Bill.
You've done. Bill
and
Moulton. Sorry, and he is one of the world's leading people in permaculture. He's in Tasmania, and he's got a community out there, and you and another friend of mine, Paul, who's a friend of yours too, went and did the 2-week course. So I'm going to get you on to teach a little bit of permaculture, right? Now, Katie, please just, again, what are your radio shows so that people can listen in, and contacts again for anyone that wants to contact you. And, of course, we're going to be on next week on the same show again. So we'll do a repeat, if not, maybe a third and a fourth. It sounds like might need to, because this stuff got to get out there. But apart from that, if you can go to another archive in the American Freedom Radio network site, Katie did the show with me there last week. We're going to be doing another one this week on American Freedom Radio. So thanks for letting me plug that one. But
hey,
please,
no problem.
Can we have...
The show actually is 2 shows this week, because it was Sunday night for me, and now it's Thursday night, so it was your Monday afternoon and Friday afternoon, or morning rather. I'm a regular host on TNS Radio. Just Google that. For the life of me, I never remember tags, but it's TNS Radio and Scottish Sovereigns on the Land. There's 2 that you can use to find my shows, and it's 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Thursday afternoon, which was literally just ahead of this for 2 hours to follow up for another 3 hours, and a myriad of other shows that I get asked to come into with Santos. Thank you so much, as always. And whoever else, if anybody else out there wants to tolerate my ranting and raving, I'm here. So universe will ask as I'm asked, so it's all good.
Beautiful. And with those lovely, encouraging words, thanks once again, Kate, and
thank you.
We'll be talking soon, no doubt. For the listeners, thank you for listening to These Changing Times Radio. We really appreciate your listenership.
Friday afternoon.
And please take care until next week.